Well, tonight, another big boost to ODM leader Raila Odinga's quest to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta as the 5th president. Now, the move is complete. The last of the One Kenya Alliance principals, Martha Karua, has found a new home in the Azimio la Umoja movement. In her own words, she will be supporting Raila Odinga as Azimio la Umoja candidate for the presidency. Now, this comes a day after she stated that the One Kenya Alliance was dead, and a few days after she indicated that she will be looking for a formation with greater numbers of individuals who truly care for the country. She had also dismissed the two leading formations as not being, quote, clean. In fact, during the Azimio Jubilee Party Pact, she was neither at any of the two venues, that's the KICC and the Jacaranda venue. On Twitter, she answered a curious tweet that she was relaxing at home on that particular day. So when was her mind made, and what does this move mean for Raila Odinga, who has been making inroads in the vote-rich Mount Kenya region? And is she the unlikely number two? Unlikely because if she does, then she makes history as the first female deputy president of Kenya. And where does that leave Kalonzo Musyoka, who has shadowed Raila Odinga for at least 2 attempts at presidency? Answers to all these questions in the second part of News Hour at Ken Mijungo across all social media platforms. The highlights. Tonight, the deal is done. Now Kenya leader Martha Karua declares support for ODM leader Raila Odinga's presidential bid. 6 people dead, over 10 hospitalized after they consumed suspected deadly liquor in Bungoma County. Plus, blow to COVID-19 vaccination campaign as over 800,000 AstraZeneca vaccines expire due to low uptake countrywide.
Kidnapping and hostage handling, you're sentenced to serve a period of 25 years.
Also tonight, justice served to kidnapper. It's life in prison for Mandera County driver attached to Cuban doctors found guilty of acts of terrorism. A very good evening and welcome to the broadcast. We speak to Cleophas Malala, outgoing Kakamega Senator. A deal brokered by the Deputy President William Ruto will see former Senator Dr. Boni Halwale shelve his ambitions for governor of Kakamega and return to the county as a senator, a position he left about 5 years ago. Now Malala will now run for governor. Later, we also speak to the best brains on television tonight, Advocate Ambrose Weda. He is also a political commentator. Joseph Simeha, a policy and governance commentator, also commentates on politics, also running in Vihiga, and Mike Agwanda, a political analyst. Stick around for that conversation and insights from the gentlemen. At KTN News KE on Twitter, the hashtag, as always, is News Hour. Please join the conversation online, and Meresha Witi is with us on sign language tonight. Let's begin the show, shall we? Now tonight, we begin on a political note. Now Kenya party leader Martha Karua has finally endorsed ODM party leader Raila Odinga as Azimio la Umoja movement presidential contender in the August 9th polls. Now Karua has signed a pre-election deal with ODM party, even as she announced that her party was no longer part of the One Kenya Alliance. And as our senior political affairs reporter Chris Dairo explains, now Kenya will not also be fielding a presidential candidate in the August polls, but will do so across other elective positions across the country.
After keeping Kenyans guessing for 2 weeks on which political coalition she will be supporting between Azimio la Umoja movement and Kenya Kwanza coalition, NAK Kenya party leader Martha Karua finally came out to announce her support for ODM leader Raila Odinga.
I'm here to confirm that from now onwards, NAK Kenya and I are supporting the Azimio presidential candidate, Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Before the official declaration, the Azimio la Umoja presidential contender Raila Odinga and his new political ally Martha Karua were holed up in a closed-door meeting, just the two of them, as they ironed out any pending issues. And after that, it emerged that NAK Kenya Party signed a deal with ODM Party and not as an affiliate party of One Kenya Alliance.
As a party, we continue to aspire to higher ideals and strive to live these expectations in all our dealings with members of our party, partners to our party, and the expectant public and the people of Kenya. Subsequently, on this matter, the NAK Kenya Party is grateful for our journey with our brothers and sisters in Oka. More importantly, that journey has now come to an end.
Martha Karua was missing in action when the One Kenya Alliance affiliate parties signed a working agreement with the other affiliate parties in Azimio la Umoja movement. Both leaders agreed that they share some history together.
I have been in the trenches with the Azimio presidential flag bearer, Comrade Raila, because that is a struggle language. I will not use Baba, I will say comrade.
She's a general. In the struggle. She wears scars of the struggle. Yeah, and she wears it proudly.
However, Karua admitted that she was aware that both sides of the political divide have non-reformers and people with tainted pasts.
While acknowledging that no side has only saints, all sides have people who may have looted in the past, all sides have people who do not believe in the rule of law, and all sides have good people. I've been looking keenly and I've been able, without much struggle, to identify a critical mass of good people within the Azimio coalition.
I don't think that he had any other choice. Because the difference between this side and the other side is like day and night. Black or white. Huh? You see, here you have people, there's some other people who may have been the other side, but they have come here. But more of the people who are together in the struggle at this side.
Karua has been touted as one of the possible running mates from the Mount Kenya region. Earlier, the ODM leader had attended the National Delegates Congress of the United Party of Independence Alliance, UPIA, that is associated with Treasury CS Ukuriatani, and resolved to support Raila Odinga presidential ambitions come August the 9th. And after bagging NAK Kenya Party as one of the affiliate parties of Azimio la Umoja movement, for now is for the principals to roll out countrywide campaigns, with their first stop being Rift Valley region, the political home turf for Deputy President William Ruto this weekend. Chris Dairo, KTN News in Nairobi.
All right, very interesting. In fact, the Bold newspaper will be telling you more about the move that Martha Karua has made and how it complicates the DPU options for Raila Odinga, the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate. We'll be telling you in a bit about it from the headlines by the Bold newspaper, The Standard. Away from that, to some unfortunate incident where 6 people died and 10 others have been hospitalized after consuming illicit brew at the Kamukunywa village, that's in Kimilili, Bungoma County. Now, local leaders are still searching for other victims. 10 more people have also been rushed to the hospital complaining of stomach pains. It is suspected that the illicit brew, that's Changa, that the 14 consumed had poisonous chemicals, as Willie Lusige reports.
Residents of Canaan village in Kamukuywa, Kimilili constituency, Bungoma County are still in shock after 6 people died after consuming illicit brew. The 6 are believed to be among tens of people who had consumed the liquor. Those who consumed the liquor are said to have complained of stomachache and general body weakness. Survivors of the deadly brew taken over the weekend were rushed to Kimilili Sub-County Hospital for emergency medical care. Irene Naliaka started complaining of stomach pains shortly after leaving the liquor den.
Jirani yangu watu walikuwa hapo ndani na nikanunua pombe ya 30.
Some of the survivors say they are lucky to be alive.
Tulikuwa grupu, hata kuna mama mwenye alikufia hapa jana, hata pia alikuwa hapo, hata mimi nilimwacha hapo. Hata nikimwambia kuja tuende nyumbani akasema mimi sikukuja na wewe ka.
Nikasikia macho, nguvu kwa mwili naisha, ndio kanileta hapo hospitali. Sikia roho inagonga. Mkasa akaanza kututafuta.
Are now asking the government to move quickly and stop production.
Ilikuwa kama mimi na ilikuwa bado tunataka msaidie sisi. Nani alipika hiyo pombe? Hiyo yetu.
Nilipikiwa simu saa 2, wakaniambia, na mwenye anipikia simu nikamuuliza amekufa nini, akasema ati ni pombe.
According to Bungoma County Police Commander Meshak Musyoki, 2 women said to have sold the poisonous liquor were arrested and taken to Kimilili Police Station, and samples of the killer brew were taken to the government chemist for analysis.
Huyu mama wa kwanza anaitwa Retempta, and alikuwa mama yangu wa kunizaa mimi. Hatukujua ni nini ile inaua hawa watu. Tulitani ni yeye ndio peke yake mwenye alikuva, kumbe watu wengi ndio wanakuva. Tungejua ni sumu mapema, watu wote hawangekufa. Tunaomba pombe iishe. Tunalalamika pombe iishe. Watusaidie wafunge pombe. Wakifunga pombe, watu hawatapoteza maisha yao.
Willy Lusigikite News, Kamkuywa, Kimilili, in the county of Bungoma.
Let's now turn our focus to health matters, and about 1 million Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines that are in government stores could go bad before use. Now, this has emerged after 840,000 doses of AstraZeneca that were part of 2.2 million doses donated from the COVAX facility in February of this year expired, dealing the war on COVID-19 a major blow. And as KTN News Gloria Milimo reports, the government is blaming this on apathy and preference of certain types of vaccines by people seeking to be vaccinated.
As the race to inoculate the world's population intensifies, about 17.3 million doses of the vaccines have been administered in the country. But the government will now be forced to destroy up to 840,000 doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines that have already expired. The Ministry of Health says it is unable to utilize all the 2.2 million doses it received in the month of February as a donation via the COVAX facility.
We received information to the effect that despite our hugely successful campaign that saw on certain days us being able to vaccinate close to 200,000 doses in a day, and more than 3 million doses that were administered over a 2-week period, that the country may not be able to utilize all the AstraZeneca doses that are available before expiry.
Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Mercy Mwangangi attributes this to complacency, vaccine preference and hesitancy, a situation that is compounded by misinformation. She notes that the country's daily vaccination rate has reduced from a high of 252,000 recorded early last month to an average of between 30 and 40,000 daily.
These reports indicate that every county has some expiries, with the highest being in Nakuru at 35,000, followed by Busia at 27,980, Kajiado at 25,770, Kakamega at 12,870, Kwale at 11,730.
Similarly, Kenya is staring at yet another looming expiry of about 1 million Johnson & Johnson vaccines. The government was hoping to administer all the 5 million doses it received in form of donation from the government of Germany in December last year.
Every expired dose is a missed opportunity at saving a life. So going forward, we are instituting the following measures to minimize future potential expiries. 1, henceforth, Kenya shall only accept donation of vaccines whose shelf life is at least 4 months at the time of delivery. 2, we shall work with counties and partners to scale up communication towards demand generation and continuous community mobilization.
We are going to do our best in terms of communication. We are an institution of higher learning. Utilize all of them before their expiry.
The ministry has adopted various measures to curb future expiry of vaccines before use. They include only receiving donations of vaccines with a shelf life of at least 4 months at the time of delivery, and scaling up public sensitization efforts in collaboration with county governments. The state is also calling on Kenyans eligible for vaccination to avail themselves for the vital job. Gloria Milimu, KTN News.
And if you haven't taken your first vaccine, it's better you go take it. It saves life. All right, to a story we've been following up for you for about 2 years plus. A driver tied to 2 Cuban doctors who were kidnapped in Mandera and taken to Somalia in 2019 will serve the remainder of his Ibrahim Robo has been jailed for committing an act of terror which led to the death of 1 police officer. Now, Senior Principal Magistrate Martha Nanzushi also handed Robo 40 years and 6 months in prison for 3 other offences, as Rita Tinina reports.
36 days after he was found guilty, Isaac Ibrahim Robo was back in court for his sentencing at the Milimani Locots. Robo was driving 2 Cuban doctors when they were kidnapped by Al-Shabaab militants in Mandera County on the 12th of April 2019 and taken to Somalia. During the incident, a police officer, Constable Mutundo Kitambo, who was escorting the medics, was shot dead.
It must be recognized that sentencing is one of the most important aspects in a criminal trial, such as this. The law requires that once an accused person has been found guilty and convicted, the trial court is required to pass an appropriate sentence.
In a case that has been going on for close to 3 years, Robo was charged with 5 counts: commission of a terrorism act, kidnapping and hostage handling, aiding and abetting terrorism, obtaining registration by false pretenses, and being in the country illegally. He was acquitted on the charge of unlawfully being in the country. Senior Principal Magistrate Martha Nanzushi slapped Robo with a life sentence and a total of 40 years and 6 months in jail.
Commission of a Terrorism Act, this honorable court sentenced the convict to a life imprisonment. Count number 2, kidnapping and hostage handling, the sentence to serve a period of 25 years. Count number 3, aiding and abetting terrorism, you will serve a sentence of 15 years. And count number 4, obtaining registration by false pretenses, carries a maximum of 1 year. He is a first-time offender. He will serve 6 months.
The 2 medics, Dr. Acel Herrera, a general physician, and Dr. Landy Rodriguez, a surgeon, were seconded to the Mandera County Referral Hospital. Robo, who was an employee of the Mandera County government, was attached to the 2 doctors.
You have right of appeal within 14 days.
Following the kidnapping, the doctors were taken to Somalia, where they are said to have been treating Al-Shabaab militants for over a year. They were later released following negotiations. The 2 were among Cuban doctors who started arriving in Kenya in June 2018 as part of a medical exchange program. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
All right, away from that story, let's take a look at the bold newspaper, The Standard. Today's news tomorrow for you, and this is the headline: Karua move changes DP option for Raila Odinga. That is the headline. Now that the Now Kenya leader has joined Azimio. Its presidential candidate has more options when picking his running mate, but her move also complicates the political math for Raila's rival, William Ruto. I'm trying to wait for the headline to see if we have it. All right, there we have it now. And that's the picture today taken at that function where Martha Karua endorsed ODM leader Raila Odinga. And of course, it also complicates the mathematics who has shadowed Raila twice in the last few elections. And that's not only... Before we took the newspaper, there's a story on the Cuban doctors story in the Standard, and of course why defecting members of parliament will not lose their seats before that, and that was a communication by the speaker today in the National Assembly. So this is your headline from the Bold newspaper. Read about also I watched my husband die in banditry attack, also a story given prominence on page 25. So grab a copy as soon as you can, as soon as midnight tonight, your Bold newspaper, because only the bold speak the truth. Time now for our first break. Senator Malala, who today has a deal with the only competitor in UDA, that's Dr. Boni Halwale. We'll get to him after this short break. Stay with us.
Nilipoanza kukohoa, kuhisi maumivu kwa kifua, uchovu mwilini, joto jingi mwilini, kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, kukosa hamu ya chakula na kupoteza uzito haraka. Nilipimwa hospitalini, kabainika nilikuwa na TB.
Nilianza matibabu ya TB mara moja. Nilimeza dawa zangu bila kukosa kwa muda unaofaa, kama nilivyoshauriwa na daktari.
Ugonjwa wa TB sio uchawi. Mtu yeyote yule anaweza kupatwa na ugonjwa huu, lakini ukimeza dawa vizuri, TB inatiba.
Nilitibiwa TB, nikapona na niko sawa.
TB inatiba. Pata matibabu bila malipo katika hospitali zote za umma. Tujijali, tumalize TB. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Wizara ya Afya na washirika wake.
Are you probably stuck on how to start off your home ownership journey? Kwamua maono yako na Optiven. Get a piece of land at the Great Oasis Gardens Nanyuki and establish your dream home, a holiday home, an entertainment park, home for sale or for rental. Get your quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, 5 acres and beyond. Deposit or place an installment of 590k on any of Optiven's projects and get an instant 15k cashback. Call us on 0790 300 300. Kwamua maono yako na Optiven.
What are we having for dinner? A universal question that echoes across the world in every home. So, how does your family throw down in the kitchen? Do your friends prefer eating at your house? Is your food the reason everyone shows up at the family reunion? You have a chance to approve it at the Family Cooking Challenge and win 1 million Kenya shillings and a plot of land, a number of amazing surprise gifts, and dare we say, bragging rights as the best family of cooks. To audition for the Family Cooking Challenge, send a video that's 1 minute long or shorter telling us why your family wants to take on the challenge to Kenya at tfccafrica.com. To take part, family members should be over the age of 18, never been to culinary school, and are citizens or legal residents in Kenya. Eldoret City Marathon, the highest paying marathon in Africa, is back for the 4th edition. Registration for the event, which will be held on the 10th of April 2022, is currently ongoing for the 42.195 kilometer and 5 kilometer races at only 1,200 Kenya shillings. Registration closes on April 7th, 2022. Join us in running for climate action. For registration information and more, visit www.eldoretcitymarathon.co.ke.
Our roads are not safe at all.
4,500 dead, many thousands more injured. Africa Eye goes undercover, investigating whether corruption is adding to the carnage in...
I don't know how to
but I have my driving license.
BBC Africa Eye, Kenya's killer roads.
To some update, results for the 2021 KCPE examination will be released on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Speaking in Kibra while monitoring the ongoing KCSE examination, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says marking of KCPE examination is complete and that the announcement of results is now only dependent on President Uhuru Kenyatta's diary.
I just want to emphasize one thing, that as we joke with early exposure, and as we joke with phones which are being smuggled into the schools and to the classrooms, remember there is going to be a price to pay. So for those who have not done so, mine is to plead with you to just do the exam and give us your very best. We're not going to have mercy on you if we find that you had cell phones. The politicians can say whatever they want, but we are going to ensure that justice for the poor child in Kibera or Kanyanyaini or Kiandutu is done, that every child has equal measures. We are aware that this is a time for political transition, but we are not politicians and we are basically just working for the children. So for those who have not breached the integrity of the exams, be warned that your jobs are at risk, and for the students, your results are at risk. We are not going to consider. Just like you are punishing us this time, we shall also be very happy to punish you at the judgment time. In terms of KCP, I think we can more or less work with Monday or Tuesday, according to His Excellency the President's diary. As far as marking is concerned, we are done. We are just doing a few things here and there to ensure that there are no gaps, to ensure that if students were absent, they were actually absent and they were not ghost students and so on and so forth.
All right, Kenya Kwanza principals led by Deputy President William Ruto appear keen to forestall any possible fallout in areas their supporters could face off during the party primaries coming in the next few weeks. Now, just after unveiling their lineup in the county of Narok on Tuesday, Kenya Kwanza leaders today struck another consensus in Kakamega County, where gubernatorial aspirants Dr. Boni Halwale and Senator Cleophas Malala reached an agreement allowing Malala to vie for governor, while Halwale will go back to the seat he previously held in the Senate. Now, the leaders later took their campaign to Machakos County, as Emmanuel To reports.
Fresh from midwifing a deal to select a compromise candidate in Narok County, Deputy President William Ruto, in a quest to prevent any friendly fires before and after the party nominations slated in 3 weeks' time, Wednesday sealed another one in Western Kenya.
Kenya Kwanza!
The DP successfully convincing former Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale to cede ground for the current Senator Cleophas Malala to vie for governor.
We witness the experience and knowledge of a senior member of our team, Boni Halwale, giving way to the youth and passion of a younger person in our coalition, Cleo Malala. This is the experience that we as Kenya Kwanza believe in.
In the power-sharing deal, the former senator will now campaign for the incumbent to run for office to succeed the outgoing governor Wycliffe Oparanya, who has served his 2 terms. In what has been seen as a change of tact, the DP embarked on the mission to have a compromise candidate through consensus in competitive areas. The same has been replicated in Tharaka Nithi and Nyeri gubernatorial races.
Arambe!
After the meeting, the DP set out for whistle-stop rallies in Machakos County, where he rallied the electorate of Athi River and Mlolongo to support his presidential bid.
Unajua Kenya hii iko watu wana madharau na kiburi mingi. Wakiona biashara ya mtu mdogo wanaona haina maana. Wakiona bodaboda wanaona ni muhalifu. wakiona mamboga wanaona hana maana. Sisi tunasema kazi ni kazi.
Tunataka uchaguzi ambao Wakenya wakishatoa uamuzi, hakuna yule atakimbia kotini kusema kwamba haukuwa wa halali.
Kura utapiga kupunguza bei ya unga, utapiga kuleta ajira.
The DP also calling on the residents to elect youthful leaders who can deliver for the people.
Tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8. Kazi ni ya mzee wa kitendawili ama kazi ni wa kijana hasla?
Tungetaka kumuomba rais na serikali, hii biashara ya scrap metal ni biashara halali, wafunguliwe waende kazi.
Bei ya mafuta iko juu, bei ya gasi iko juu, hata bei ya kujenga kwa sababu chuma iko juu, simiti iko juu, kila kitu iko juu.
The leaders also blasted the Orange Party boss Raila Odinga, saying he will be a puppet president.
Tunataka serikali ambayo mtu atafinya lala analala, enda left anaenda left, ama mnataka serikali ambaye yule anashikilia anaondesha vizuri?
Ati mnasemaje?
Deputy President William Ruto will now be heading to Tana River County after concluding his trip here in Machakos County as he continues to woo support ahead of the August 9 general election. Emmanuel To, KTN News, at the River, Machakos County.
Right, we're still hoping to speak to Senator Malala, who's on the road to Kakamega. Now, with barely 4 months left to the general election, several leaders continue to emerge with intention on vying for the top political seats. In Mandera County, the Jubilee Party seems to have reaped big. Labas announced he will be going for governorship for Mandera on the party's ticket. That's Jubilee. He says security will be top of his agenda.
Watu wa Mandera leo wametufurahisha, wametingiza vidole kweli kweli kuonyesha kwamba Governor Faisal ndio chaguo lao na tumefurahi sana. Ningependa kuomba wakubwa wa party ya Jubilee waangalie kwa makini nani atapewa, nani watampatia. Lazima wafuate mapendekezo ya watu ya Mandera.
Leo nimekuja rasmi ku launch bid yangu ya kusomea governorship ya Mandera County. Baada hiyo nimetembelea county commissioner na nimekuja kufungua ofisi ya chama cha Jubilee. Mimi nawania kiti hii kwa chama cha Jubilee na ningependa kuashua rais wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, sisi watu wa Mandera ni watu wa Jubilee na sisi watu wa Mandera ni watu tunasimama na serikali kila saa.
We want to tell and to inform the government of the day, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and his brother Raila Amolo Odinga. We support Azimio la Umoja.
Now, court hearing Governor Okoth Obado's murder case was today told how a medic faked medical records for Obado's personal assistant Michael Oyamo on the day Rongo University's student Sharon Otieno was murdered. Now, Cliff Omanyi, a clinical officer based at the Kisii County Teaching and Referral Hospital, presented to the court forged medical records, as Clement Masombo now reports.
On Tuesday, it was a police officer who testified in the court, circumstances under which Sharon Otieno's body was discovered in Kodera Forest. And today, it was the turn of a medic, Cliff Momanyi, to testify in court. The clinical officer told the court how he forged medical records of Michael Oyamo. In the papers, he had indicated that the governor's assistant had been attacked by unknown people and required some specialized treatment.
Clinical notes, and I wrote the following: assault by unknown persons.
Appearing before the trial judge, Cecilia Githua, the witness said forgeries happened on September 4th, 2018. The same day, the body of Obado's murdered girlfriend, Sharon Otieno, was discovered at Kodera Forest in Oyugis town.
Patients are seen in a system. They are not seen, like the medical notes are not done by pen. Yes.
Obado Oyamo and former Migori County Clerk Kaspalo Biero are facing murder charges. They are alleged to have conspired to kill Sharon and her 7 months unborn baby on September 3, 2018 at Kowade in Rachuonyo Sub-County within Homa Bay County. By the time of her death, Sharon was a student at Rongo University. It is believed that Sharon was dating the Migori governor. DNA results presented in court showed that Obado was the biological father of Sharon's unborn child.
What did you say? What was the next category? The patient's name? Oyamo Mayiko.
A police officer, Willie Okoti, who has already testified, told the court that one of the protected witnesses had informed him that it was Oyamo who had handed them over to the kidnappers on September 3, 2018 at Grasha Hotel in Rongo Town. According to the officer, Oyamo had met Sharon and the witness at the hotel and requested them to board a vehicle to a different location. Sharon and the witness entered the waiting vehicle while in the company of Oyamo. But after about 300 meters drive, Oyamo alighted and called 2 other people who were standing beside the road to board.
The number you've just given is wrong.
It's 055.
No, it is forward.
As soon as the 2 new strangers entered the vehicle, it sped off towards Homa Bay town, leaving the governor's personal assistant at the point he had alighted. And that marked Sharon's last time to be seen alive. Her lifeless body was discovered the following day in the forest.
It means now the patient had no more oxygen concentration in the body.
No.
Yes.
Momanyi's testimony was, however, cut short after one of the defense lawyers representing Oyamo fell ill during the proceedings, forcing trial judge Cecilia Githua to adjourn the hearing until March 30th. Justice Githua also ruled that the copies of medical records produced by Momanyi be marked for identification and will be admitted as evidence once the original copies are produced. Clement Masombo, KTN News.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Happy anniversary. Mbona hii mabati ya kina dad na mom bado inakaa mpya? Na hii nyumba imekuwa hapa for so many years. Na pia umelelewa hapa.
Wow, imagine hata nilikuwa sija notice.
Rufus, wewe ni fundi wangu wa miaka mingi sana. Haya mabati yatadumu kweli?
Huyu kijana nilimwambia anunue mabati ya Dumuzas.
Usibahatishe mabati. Hakikisha umeangalia alama za kudhibitisha Dumuzas halisi. Chagua Dumuzas, mabati inayodumu kudumu. Isitoshe, Dumuzas ndio mabati pekee inayokuja na warranty.
Sitaki tena kubahatisha.
Mabati inayodumu kudumu.
Rada jaja. Usikini mimi tena. Nimemuoku tu kusema asanti kwa kunidunga zawadi ya life na pia afya njema. Enyewe si ati nini, wendo bazenga.
Shukuru Bwana na your callers with the Sheng prayer quote of the day by dialing *811 *914#. Set the tone with Skiza. On 30th of March 2022, the Ministry of Health in collaboration with CBM Christian Blind Mission will launch the Vision Impact Project for comprehensive, inclusive, integrated and people-centered universal eye health coverage in Kenya. Erstwhile, KTN News will host a panel discussion with the lead team to elaborate on the aim of the project targeting 10 counties in Kenya. Tune in to the panel discussion on the 24th of March 2022 at 10 a.m.
Get your quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, 5 acres and beyond. Deposit or place an installment of 590k on any of Optiven's projects and get an instant 15k cashback. Call us on 0790 300 300. Kwa mua maono yako na Optiven.
All right, welcome back. Time now to do some business, making sense of the shillings and cents. Now, Kakuzi has posted a 48.5% decline in profit to 319 million shillings for the year ended December of 2021 from 622 million shillings in the previous year. Now, this is due to the closure of some overseas market for its products. Earnings also reduced due to lower avocado production and, of course, the prices. Despite the decline in profit, the farm will make a 431.1 million shillings dividend payout, or about 22 shillings a share. Kakuzi is also eyeing the Chinese market to export avocados following a field audit and a facility inspection by the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate.
I think the first step is where we are supposed to register all the growers and all the pack houses, and this is done by KEFIS ensuring that we inspect particularly the orchards where the production will be done, and two, we also inspect the pack houses, and once we do that, we generate a list, and this list is shared with the National Plant Protection Organization of China. And once we have been able to do that, then the Chinese and KEFIS will be able to register this facility. The second part that we are required to do as a country is to ensure that all fruits that are sent to China are actually fumigated with methyl bromide at a specific procedure that they have been able to produce. So we will ensure that all the products, before they are shipped to China, they will require to be fumigated with methyl bromide at a specific temperature.
After almost 2 years of closure due to the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, the tourism industry is expected to rebound in the next 2 months, as major hotels in the country are also expected to reopen after almost 2 years now. Top hotels in the country like Fairmount, the Norfolk, Radisson Blu, Upper Hill and the Mount Kenya Safari Club are expected to be opening between April and May. Speaking during the launch of the gastronomy tourism video experience, which highlights and promotes Nairobi as a prime destination, Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife Najib Balala says that the industry was looking forward to improved numbers within that period, adding that the reopening of the facilities bring a fresh breath into the sector that has been slowed down due to the pandemic.
A pilot project to promote the culinary experience and gastronomy in the city of Nairobi. We want to do more, and we want to open it to many players and stakeholders in this sector. We have been told by UNWTO that the gastronomy industry in the world is about $1.1 trillion. That's huge, but also count, every tourist needs to eat, every hotel needs to feed their clients. So that's a huge, again, value chain support or enabler.
Over 10,000 residents of thicker slum areas of Kiandutu, Athena, Kiangombe and Kiganjo are said to benefit from the utilization of Como River water after plans to start fish farming, among other projects, is realized. Now, the residents have launched a tree planting exercise in order to preserve the river, intend to put up fish ponds and stock fingerings in the existing ponds in a sustainable program that will make them drive poverty out of the area.
Hapa ni pahali ambapo wanaweza kutengeneza mashimo na waungane na wale ambao wanaweza kuwasaidia ili waweze kuchibua mashimo, wawe na samaki. Samaki tunajua ni chakula, inaweza ikawa njia ya kupata mapato.
Community groups zile ziko hapa kutoka hapa kwenda huko chini, ambao itasaidia karibu watu 1,100 wasaidiwe vile wataweka samaki. Hii samaki itawasaidia kwa protein, itawasaidia kupata pesa mfukoni.
Samaki sinafanya vizuri sana pande hii kwa sababu kwa hiyo visima ambayo iko katika hii area ya Athena, hata bila kuwekwa samaki, kuwekwa mbegu hizo za samaki, tayari kuna samaki tunapatanga huko kwa hiyo visima. Kwa hivyo tukisaidiwa vile tunaweza tengeneza fish pond, tunaweza furahia hata ukulima wa samaki naweza.
Right, you probably wonder why a child will need to go to the spa, but has it ever occurred to you that they actually do? Now, most parents want friendly spaces for their children. As long as their comfort and safety is guaranteed, well, the parents are more than willing to pay the price. However big it is, Esther Diana takes you through the ins and outs of setting up a spa business.
The main idea about Prini is what we had when we were starting Prini. We wanted a space where kids can feel like kids, they can be treated as kids. So we have had experiences where we take our kids to salons and barbershops where they engage with adults. Maybe you get the adult conversations that are not very suitable for kids. Maybe the environment there is not very child friendly. So we said the reason why we need to start the Prini Kids Spa is to have a space where kids can feel comfortable. I think this is something that Kenya has been waiting for a while, because I can say this is one of a kind in the country where we do exclusively for kids. The most challenging part with kids, I can say, is the amount of time consumed when doing the service, because as much as the queues can be long, we find a way where we can make them comfortable and wait for the other people. So the challenging part is that you can come with a kid. A normal haircut that can take around 20-30 minutes, you can take even an hour. Because we do even kids that are just 1 year old or slightly below 1 year. So that feeling, especially for the kids that are having their first shave, it's never easy. Prini Group is a space for kids. It has 2 sections. One is the Prini Kids Spa and Barbershop. And the other section is the Prini Group now that has the edutainment section, which is where we do the kids coding and also the STEM activities. We give them an opportunity to go and experience the STEM section, where we have the science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, and entrepreneurship section. So whenever they come here, once they do their haircut, we don't force them to go home. They can go to our other section and enjoy the feel of what other kids are enjoying. When we do that, our aim, our main idea is when we're coming with the STEM section, we wanted to support more girls in the STEM section. Also support more girls in tech and engineering.
So you've all had the conversation that goes on in the salon and the barbershops. Some are inappropriate and you don't want your kid to be part of it. You don't want them eavesdropping on this. For KT News, I'm Ndombi, Esther Diana, on My Market Story.
My name is John Karuga. I'm an exporter of horticultural products. We grow our flowers in Mount Kenya. We do our vegetables in different parts of Kenya. I met people who had been with Family Bank and they encouraged me to join Family Bank. It's about 5 years now, 5 to 6 years. We have been working together. It's working well. I have not regretted since I joined them. They got very professional managers, and I keep on telling them, this is to me is like a second home. During the COVID time, they financed me. And I'm very confident that the bank will be with me as I expand the business.
Welcome to the family, your home of agribusiness, because you can always bank on family. Fuzu na family.
On 30th of March 2022, the Ministry of Health in collaboration with CBM Christian Blind Mission will launch the Vision Impact Project for comprehensive, inclusive, integrated and people-centered universal eye health coverage in Kenya. Erstwhile, KTN News will host a panel discussion with the lead team to elaborate on the aim of the project targeting 10 counties in Kenya. Tune in to the panel discussion on the 24th of March 2022 at 10 a.m.
I joined, I have seen progressive change in terms and conditions of service for women. Today, we see ourselves in the Air Force, in the Army, and in the Navy.
Kweli unaona hata serikali inaonyesha kwa kutambua mara ya kwanza ya kwamba katika ngazi za juu ya jeshi hii hata kina mama wanaweza kuchangia na wapewe nguvu.
It is very fulfilling to serve my country in the defense forces.
This, I am proud to state, demonstrates clearly our commitment to engendering the security sector, and more importantly, our resolve to empower and to position our women in positions of leadership.
Right, welcome back to the last part before our discussion at the top of the hour. Let's do some sports, and at the end of the 2021-2022 season stretch to the month of May, KSF Nairobi branch is hopeful that the new season will be like no other. Now, Nairobi Chair Teddy Wamuyu says that with the COVID-19 restrictions lifted, more records will definitely be broken.
Tarajie kuona time standards mpya. In fact, ile kitu itafanyika sasa ni time standards zitapandishwa juu, manake competition itakuwa ya hali ya juu. Waogeleaji sasa wamerecover, mambo ya lockdown kwisha, nchi imefunguliwa, mambo yamerudi kawaida. Sasa training ni kutrain bila mchezo. Watoto wana train. Makocha anafanya kazi kwenye counties. Makocha anafanya kazi ya training na wataki mchezo. Tukipatana huu msimu ujao itakuwa vishindo, itakuwa ni mashindano ya makali sana watoto. Waogeleaji watafanya vituko sana.
Now, the national catchball team, which represented Kenya and Africa in Israel Championship, is determined to qualify for the World Championship. Buoyed by the victories against England and Romania, Kenya is set to deploy all her tactics in order to sail through.
Najua sasa hivi wanaenda kufanya mazoezi sana, ndio kwa sababu tuna ile mchezo ambayo inakuja, ile inaitwa Demonstration Olympic Games. Na lazima tufanye ile inaitwa Continental Championship ya kuwataja wale watafuzu kwenda ile mchezo huko Paris. So sasa hivi kila mtu amerudi kwao kufanya mazoezi, kungojea alivyoona yale kidogo alikuwa anafanya makosa wapi. Sasa hivi wachezaji wetu ni wanajua wako imara, watafanya mazoezi yao. Ile tu tofauti tulikuwa nayo ni kwamba unajua huku tunacheza kile tunaita outdoor, lakini wale walikuwa wamezoea kucheza ndani kwa sababu ile mchezo inachezwa ndani. So hilo ndio ilikuwa changamoto kwao, lakini walifurahia kucheza ndani na wakafuatilia vizuri na wakaishinda.
Titus Kasuve, the Football Kenya Federation Caretaker Committee head of referees subcommittee, says that only qualified officials are allowed to officiate the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. Now, the league has, however, taken a 2 weeks break, with players and coaches having raised a number of issues relating to officiating.
A technical glitch somewhere in our accounting processes, and it has been corrected. And in fact, that's why you found me with my team there, trying to see how we can sort that out. But it is sorted. It is not, there's nothing to worry about. And also, even then, when the delay is there, when the money comes, it's quite a substantial amount of money that you're able to do something. And they are assured the money will come. We will look at a match being played between AFC and Kakamega Homeboys. The venue first is a determinant. Number two, you will know that is a high-risk match. You will need to be able to get the right referees to go and officiate such matches. A match where Gor is playing, a match where AFC is playing, a match where Kakamega Homeboys is playing, a match where Kariobangi Sharks is playing. Though the teams are equal, but we know the tempo and everything. First of all, Premier League matches are supposed to be officiated by the FIFA-registered referees. Those are the ones we give the first priority. Then we are able sometimes to decide if we have our own referees, FKF referees. We have to be very careful how we mix them. Center referee, you can give the FIFA referee. The assistant one might be FIFA, the other one might be the other from the FKF system. But all is well. We are not worried about it.
Now to tennis. Australian tennis great and current world #1 Ashi Bhatti has announced her retirement from the sport at just 25 years old. Now Bhatti is the current world #1 women single players, just the second Australian to reach that status in WTA ranking era after fellow woman Yvonne Goglangang.
Yeah, I kind of wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this, but I think so many times in my life, both my professional and my personal, you've been there for me, and I just couldn't think there's no right way, there's no wrong way, it's just my way, and this is perfect for me to share it with you, to talk to you about it, with my team, my loved ones, that I'll be retiring from tennis. And it's the first time I've actually said it out loud, and yeah, it's hard to say, but I'm so happy and I'm so ready, and I just know at the moment in my heart for me as a person, this is right. And I know I've done this before, but in a very different feeling, and I'm so grateful to everything that tennis has given me. It's given me all of my dreams plus more, but I know that the time is right now for me to step away and chase other dreams, and to put the rackets.
Right, on that sporty note, we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be telling you of a breaking story just coming into our newsroom about the death of the first U.S. Secretary of State. We'll be telling you all about it. But first, let's take a break. And if you're watching us via KTN Home, it's time now to switch to KTN Home, KTN News, because when we come back, my discussion on the second hour of News Hour begins. Stay with us. We're back in a moment.
KTN News. Get the whole story. On 30th of March 2022, the Ministry of Health in collaboration with CBM Christian Blind Mission will launch the Vision Impact Project for comprehensive, inclusive, integrated and people-centered universal eye health coverage in Kenya. Erstwhile, KTN News will host a panel discussion with the lead team to elaborate on the aim of the project targeting 10 counties in Kenya. Tune in to the panel discussion on the 24th of March 2022 at 10 a.m. Kivumbi 2022 is on the road. We are climbing the mountains and sailing in the lake to fish out issues that are of concern to you.
Togin wete mage mantiere pachu dalaka.
Hii serikali yenye inakuja tusaidie kwa maneno ya health.
Maneno ya shule.
This is Azimio's presidential candidate, Raila Odinga's backyard.
Nimehakikishia kwamba mimi sitawaangusha chini.
In this election, the region is expected to once again stand by him as he seeks to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta.
80% plus kwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
With 6 counties in the region, the battle lines are defined. The dominant parties are known. So we will tell you who the aspirants are.
Wabiro romo gi jotelo kendo waketo twak e dala ka.
KTN News ochopo dala.
We value your feedback and welcome any comments, queries, or complaints regarding our news content. You can get in touch with us on SMS 22155, call 0719 012 450, or email feedback@standardmedia.co.ke, or you can send us a letter on Post Office Box 30080-00100, or deliver it to our offices at Standard Group Center, Mombasa Road, Nairobi. KTN News. Get the whole story.
And welcome back to the second hour of news. My guests are already seated. I'll be speaking to them in a little while. Ambrose Weda, Michael Agwanda, and of course, Josie Meha, joining us live from our studios in Kisumu. But before I speak to them, let's bring in some breaking news just getting into our studios at this hour. The BBC is reporting that ex-US Secretary of State, the first female one actually, Madeleine Albright, is dead. Now, Albright died at the age of 84. She is the first female Secretary of State in the United States history. A long-time foreign policy veteran, she became America's top diplomat in 1997 during President Clinton's administration, becoming the highest-ranking woman in the U.S. government and often hailed as a champion of democracy. Albright rests. And of course, tomorrow during our broadcast on Africa Speaks, we'll definitely be bringing you this story and telling you much, much more. But just breaking, the first female U.S. Secretary of State during the President Clinton time has died at the age of 84. Right, away from that, you know about WaterGen, a machine that can tap water from the atmosphere, which is fast becoming the talk of town in many villages in northeastern part of the country. Now, residents of Kuno village, a remote area in Garissa County, are elated after the gadget was installed there a few weeks ago, and now they have plenty of water, as Hamza Yusuf reports.
For the majority of people living in northern Kenya, shortage of water or lack of it has become part of their lives. Residents either have to walk long distance to fetch water or have to be supplied water using water boozers. Access to clean water remains a marriage here. More than 50 years after Kenya gained independence, availability of water is a daily challenge for especially women and children. But this may soon change in Garissa, thanks to arrival of a game-changing innovation.
For example, right now, we can get information for the temperature and the humidity.
Residents of Garissa are now first Kenyans to benefit from atmospheric water generators pioneered by Watergen, a global leader in atmospheric water devices.
Now this machine, the way it operates is that during the night, this is the best time for generating. It can generate water either during the day or during the night. But at night, it sucks in water from one end, which you'll see shortly, and then that water is condensed. First of all, it is cooled, condensed, and then rain is actually generated within the machine. So it actually rains the same way you'd see rain falling on our grounds from the skies.
The project was facilitated by NECONEC organization and Garissa businessman Mahat Kunoroble. Watergen's genius technology worked by drawing air into atmospheric water generator. Then an air filter removes the dust and dirt. Then undergoes a heat exchange and cooling process which brings air into the point of condensation. The water passes through a cascade of 3 filters, which include chemical and biochemical filtration, making it not only fit for human consumption, but also ensures highest quality.
From around 8 o'clock, as the night continues, advances, the humidity rises up, and it can rise from around 35% relative humidity to up to 90% during around 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning.
We were curious to find out the cost of atmospheric water generator, being the first of its kind locally.
The worth of the machine is 15 million Kenya shillings, but when you look at also the other costs of feeding it to Kenya, freight, then it can go to about 18 million shillings.
The innovation designed for towns, villages and off-grid settlements can produce up to 5,000 liters of water power depending on humidity and atmosphere. The atmospheric water generating system Watergen is widely used in Israel, but this could be first of its kind here in Kenya.
The machine is not actually the only one in Kenya. What you know is that it is the only machine in East and Central Africa.
Watergen rely on solar power and electricity to function. Pupils at Kuno Primary in Balambala, Garissa County are the first ones to interact with the machine.
Hapa ni shule na shule wanahitaji maji. Sometimes ile maji tulikuwa tunatumia kutoka mto ni piped water. Sometimes hiyo pipe itaharibika. The generator ambayo ina pump maji kutoka the river sometimes inaharibika.
It is not only the school, but the entire village is lighted with the innovation. According to Harun Mohammed Yusuf, director at NECONEC, they hope to reach 18 counties if resources are allocated. The United Nations report says more than 2 billion people are living in countries experiencing high water stress. Closer home, 15% of Kenyans rely on unimproved water sources such as pond, shallow wells and rivers, while 41% lack access to basic sanitation solutions. Hamza Yusuf, KTN News.
Right, very interesting technology. And that's where we begin our show for tonight, because my guests are already seated. But before I speak to them, let's take a look at some little bit of history. Same day to the day today, same month to the election of 2017. The newspaper headline, that is the bold newspaper, The Standard. President Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila clash over 2007 post-election violence. President reignites controversy on the post-poll clashes by accusing Odinga, absolving DP, and ODM boss also responded on that day with a scathing attack on the president and the deputy. They went ahead to win that election. And of course, right there at the top, something that we are contending with today, NASA principals to meet over flag bearer and split fears, says Kalonzo Musyoka. Rings a bell in your mind? Because this is what Azimio la Umoja is dealing with right now. And today the metrics changed completely because Martha Karua joined the foray. So what happens to Kalonzo Musyoka? And already Raila Odinga was talking about giving Martha Karua a position. Everyone is curious, and my guest tonight will be talking about that possible position. And away from that, there was also a story by AG Githu Muigai, then shocker for aspirants. 10 agencies gang up against them. Integrity, Chapter 6 of the Constitution was put right at the top of the aspirants' list of ticks they must. And also banks renew fight to increase lending rates. Also a top story on that day. That was the 23rd of March, 2017. Exact day today to the next gen election, with about only 139 days left to the next gen election. Right. A good place to begin our discussion tonight. Ambrose Weda, advocate and also a political analyst, joins us on the table tonight. So is my friend Mike Gwanda, also a political analyst, joining us on the table tonight. Live from Kisumu is Joseph Simeha. He's a governance and, of course, policy analyst and also political commentator. And, of course, I'm learning he's running in Vihiga on a new party, gentlemen, you know. He'll be telling us all about that next. But karibuni sana. Let's begin the discussion tonight with Ambrose, and this is very deliberate. The last time we met,
yes,
we were sitting downstairs,
yes,
and you said this is not the time to chest thump.
Yes.
The Azimio Brigade should go and hunt for Kalonzo Musyoka,
yes,
and bring him.
Yes.
And that is exactly what happened.
In fact, not the Azimio. I think
you said everyone actually should talk to them.
And they continued.
Yes.
Aende. But you see, President Uhuru, knowing the winning strategy, knowing what it means and what is at stake, and seeing the figures, leave alone the fake opinion polls. If you look at the figures for now, the chief chicken seller is still ahead, and a lot of work has to be done. One of it, you already have Honorable Kalonzo in your docket. But what he is talking has the effect of disillusioning his base. They are there, yes, but they say there's nothing to hope in this thing. So that talk has to be brought to an end. How do you do it? You negotiate. You go down because it is you who is waiting for the prize. And you could see President Uhuru saying, my brother, I was taught by Moi. When President Moi and the late Nyachai, God rest their soul in eternal peace, when Moi wanted to go back, he went to Nyachai's home and said, Baba, where's the problem? Mama, pick a chai. Let's drink. That's exactly what the president did. He goes there and says, please, brother. And then from there you can see Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka saying now things are fine. But the others are, he should not do this, let him go. Exactly what they did to Musalia.
And he went.
Mm-hmm. Now, they did that to Kalonzo in 2007. And you attribute that to Raila. They did that to Mudavadi in 2007. He went with 400 votes. So now they want to do it. They have already left Kalonzo. They have already left Mudavadi. And Kalonzo has said, I'm coming.
I'm coming.
And I've come. Then they say, even if you have come, shut up. Surely. What's wrong with these people?
Let me bring this, Mike. That was 2013 when he had 43,000 votes in 2013 election. But let me bring Mike. You are one person that Weda told clearly, right? Stop saying, in fact, you said you are pianoing, right? So you're one person who was not upbeat and you thought, actually, what if your mathematics was right? What would have happened? Because you thought he was unnecessary.
No. I did not think it was unnecessary. First of all, we need to agree.
You thought he was holding the party hostage.
At ransom.
That's what you said.
I thought he was holding the nation at ransom.
Yes.
Because everybody was speaking about him, and he was not making his decision as quick as perhaps the country wanted him to do. But you know, I like the way Mr. Weda talks. He talks as if these gentlemen do not have brains for themselves, and other people have to decide for them whether to kwenda huko or to come. You know, I think they're very smart individuals. But what baffles me is the aspect of when you wait for too long, and you wait for too long to an extent where everybody now seems to have something to say about you, then that kind of leadership baffles me. Because when you're looking for position of presidency, you need to be that individual that can make decisions very quickly. Some of them might not be right, but you've already made those decisions to save the nation from all this quagmire of uncertainty and just walking as if you are there and you're not there. That I say, and I still stand with it. Make decisions so that your followers knows this is the direction I'm going.
Okay.
I think from everything that has happened since we talked and today we are here, we know for a fact that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka has moved to Azimio. Whether he said all that Mr. Weda had said, the point remains that he's moved to Azimio. And today, Azimio got the biggest catch that perhaps they've been looking for a very long time.
Bigger than Kalonzo Musyoka?
I'm saying, when it comes to Central Province, and that's the mountain area, then we know this is one of the biggest
catch in Mount Kenya region for Azimio was President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Totally agree.
Yes.
However, there are many factors.
Okay.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has not gone hand to hand to hand for votes for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, hand to hand for them in Central Province.
I'm going to talk about Martha Karua, and I want to begin the conversation of Martha Karua from Joseph Simehal's location. Yes. I had to bring this in because we were in a show together, and you are pianoing.
But according to him, he thinks that trouble in Azimio is keeping the nation at ransom. It's not the nation. Second, it is not late. It is actually very early. Honorable Raila went and got my teacher, Professor Kebwana, he got Ngilu, he got Mutua. And they were like, we have them. But if you look at the figures, if you look at the heartbeat of the canvas, they were simply saying, you have not gotten our man. Mm-hmm. Now, President Uhuru knows these things. And he knows, he says, it is not those words. It is this one.
Okay.
And when now that one came, even you people are now saying, So let's learn to be able to talk to people with respect.
I need to talk to Joe.
I just don't think it is only President Uhuru Kenyatta who knows this. I think Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga too knows this.
He always chases them away.
No, absolutely not.
He chased Mudavadi, he chased Kalonzo, and now you people are saying,
Mudavadi, and let's just say, when it comes to Mudavadi, this guy was dining in ODM and NASA and all this during daytime, and at night he was in UDA. I think he's at the right place now.
Okay, let me bring Joe. Joe, sorry for taking me a little bit late. These gentlemen were at a show that they really argued about the position of Kalonzo Musyoka. But tonight I don't want to argue about the position of Kalonzo Musyoka, who's joined Azimio la Umoja, and of course we know. But there are two things to this, Joe. One, what position will Kalonzo Musyoka say? There were media reports in a section of the print that he says that he needs 3/4 of the government in order to seat the deputy president or the running mate position. But aside from that, there is the arrival of the Iron Lady, Martha Karua, today. And newspaper headlines definitely are running with this, and they're reporting that it also complicates the metrics now for Raila Odinga in terms of choosing a running mate. Do you agree? Do you disagree with this?
Thank you very much, Ken, for that. First of all, is to mention that the show you are making reference to, I was actually on that show as well, but we've just changed places with Ambrose Weda, because Weda was here in Kisumu and I was right there in the studio in Nairobi. So I do remember that show very, very well. When we were discussing about Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi. And for me, what I'm seeing now that is different, what is coming out that is worthy of our attention, in my humble opinion, is Kalonzo Musyoka's capacity and determination to negotiate. It's unlike the Kalonzo Musyoka I have known in the past. From the distance that I've worked with initially CORD and then later NASA, I have not witnessed Kalonzo Musyoka negotiate seemingly as tough as he is doing right now. I suspect, and I'm just bringing this in, though you didn't ask, but I think it's important, that is because of the political system he now has around him. He was able to stand his ground. As they were saying Kwenda, he was saying that, yes, of course I can Kwenda, I can go. It's not a must that I come to Azimio. So let me put that together with the fact that individual politicians' interests, or Azimio's interests, or even Kenya Kwanza's interests, must never be mistaken for national interests. So in my humble opinion, we must never make reference to national interests or the nation when we are talking about competing political formations and individual politicians. That is why, for now, you may never be able to tell who is going to be running mate. It is going to depend on individual politicians' interests, group interests, and negotiating power. So you can't tell for sure for now, but for me it seems likely that Kalonzo Musyoka will retain the upper hand in comparison to any other persons other than Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta coming into the Azimio coalition. He seems to have negotiated very well. He seems to have retained a Trump position. He seems to be saying that, you push me, I go. You push me, I pull this. I have so many cards to pull out of the bag. So I think that is what you have to consider when, instead of just going straight to talking about who and who will not be a running mate or otherwise.
Okay, has it narrowed down, in your opinion, the choices that Raila Odinga and Azimio la Umoja has it really narrowed down, or is still open? The field is still open for any player?
I think it's very much open. It's incredible how dynamic politics is. It may look very obvious to us right now, but do not be surprised that negotiations are still going on. Do not be surprised that some big stakeholder or big party from Azimio can cross to Kenya Kwanza, or some big party or stakeholder from Kenya Kwanza can cross to Azimio, or from somewhere you're not expecting, somebody who is not prominent in any of these coalitions can move in and acquire such prominence in the matrix of either of these coalitions. So in my experience in politics, is a bit too early, and this mostly gentlemen will be very careful that they will be wanting to name their running mates at the very last minute, just before the presidential nominations with the IEBC. So for me, it's still open.
Open. Let me bring the conversation right here now. Whether is it open, because it narrows, and I'll give you perhaps the analogy of Raila Odinga today when he started saying playing football, right? When he was playing football, and he stopped right at Karua's doorstep, right? He stopped there. He gave the ball to everyone, starting from Macharia, and then ended right at Martha Karua's doorstep.
Let's not read too much.
No, but how can we not read too much? We are reading
because
what they told
we look
us.
at facts.
They have told us he's playing football.
Please, let's take small things. Then we say the decision as to who will the running mate be. First and foremost, you saw those who are Zays, the big wigs from Central. If you ask them to choose, they will not choose Martha Karua. Please get that clear.
Why?
That's a story for another day. Secondly, I really don't think that even Martha Karua joined because of negotiations. There's something I've always said, that there are some politicians, if you showed them that Honorable William Ruto, if he becomes president, you will be sent to retirement, all of you, because by virtue of age and influence, that would make them actually go to the side where hope still remains. So the vice president position will be on the basis of how do we get votes from Gema. How? Because the biggest vote now to be taken is from Gema. And Honorable Raila needs a running mate from Gema. Honorable Uhuru William Samoei Arap Ruto from Gema.
But I'll stop you. Why do you think they need a running mate from Gema? Why must it be?
The votes?
No, but Gema has had a president, 3 presidents in fact. So what is so enticing about a running mate?
You are talking logic, my brother. You are talking political science. You are talking constitutional issues. Here, there will be voting on August 9th. And whoever has more votes will be president. So whoever wants to be president will look, where do I get the votes? If those votes happen to come from Gema, so be it. There will be no logic that, oh, the Kikus have been there, the Kisses have been out, let us get Dorobos, because they have never
That's not my point. My point is this.
Yes.
The Kikuyus have had a president, 3 presidents in fact.
Yes.
There's nothing that a deputy president will do for the Kikuyus that the 3 presidents have not done for them. That cannot be an enticement. Secondly, apart from just that, William Ruto, deputy president, is not running as a Rift Valley. We've agreed about this in previous shows. He's not a Rift Valley presidential candidate. That is locked in his basket. He is a Mount Kenya presidential candidate. So he's already with them.
You see, those are either coffee house way of looking at it or office looking at it. Who told you that the Mount Kenya will not be asking? The Gema people are not saying, in your government, what do we have? And what do you offer? Why is Kalonzo being difficult? He is not saying you need to have a dance for me. He's saying, in this government,
what do I have?
What do I have?
Okay.
And what do I have? He's saying, if you are not giving me this, I want this percentage
of the government.
Even between President Uhuru and Honorable William Ruto, when they negotiated, it was like percentage of government. Honorable Ruto or Uhuru did not tell Ruto that, President Moi was there for 24 years. Now, Honorable Ruto did not tell Uhuru, we are just succeeding Kibaki. It was us
On the basis
and
of the
our
vote.
government.
Okay.
Then when I come in, I'll bring this number of votes, and this is the percentage. So now that Gema is not having a presidential candidate, strategists will say, how do we entice them? And what do we use to entice them? The biggest thing is the deputy president.
Okay, Mike, very interesting conversation, but talk to us about what Martha Karua brings to the Azimio movement. Does she bring anything?
You know, surprisingly, when I looked at the body language today between Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and, of course, Honorable Martha Karua, I realized that they have a history, and not just a history of this movement from, Flower Party to Azimio, but a history. They call themselves, I had to say, I will not call you, Jacom, but I'll call you Baba,
but a comrade.
But I'll call you a comrade. That means they've been in this field rather longer than most people know. And they've been in the struggle, the first liberation, I think the second liberation, and now we're into the third liberation with the call an economic liberation. But that to say, that not to say that they've not had issues. When Martha Karua was the Minister of Constitution in Kibaki government, we know that they had great frictions and they had great difference with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, that they were not seeing each other eye to eye. But that also not to say that they cannot come together and work as a team, just like they did before. Mother has fought for this country. She's fought for issues of injustices. She's spoken her mind very, very eloquently in the past, until, we know that in the last 10 years she's been relegated to just being a citizen of this country, which I thought is a beautiful place to be, so that you can watch things from a distance and say, what if I just get an opportunity to be in government? What difference can I make? Because this is the last lap for them. These are individuals that knows very well that in the next 5 or 10 years, they might not be in the political arena of this country. And so I think they want to do their best for this country. For her to decide that indeed between, you asked one question, whether it's it now for the presidential race that we are having today. I would say yes, it is. Simea might say otherwise, and my friend here might say that it's still open, but I'm saying differently. I'm saying that this is an arena for Honorable William Ruto and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Those are the only people we're going to see in the ballot. Everybody else will be coming there for their own interest, but not to be the President of the Republic of Kenya. And for that reason, but they have the right to do that. And for that reason, for Mother to come out and say, look, I have two people, two individuals. I'm not running for president. She ran for president earlier, and she didn't make much of it. And she says, I have two people here. I'm either going to be relegated, just like I've been 10 years, for the last 10 years, or I have to be part of the system. But if I have to be part of the system, is running with Ruto or joining Ruto giving me any hopes?
Okay.
Or is Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga giving me more hopes? We've seen what Mount Kenya is saying. Whether you disregard what those elders are saying, that they're supporting Honorable Amolo Odinga or not, I think that is to everybody's discretion. But Mother is smart enough to know that if Mount Kenya is deciding, and Honorable President of the Republic of Kenya is saying that this is the individual I'm supporting, she's already able to see that indeed Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga might get support from Central Province, and not just Central Province,
or
will be the President of the Republic of Kenya.
I'll say what Raila Odinga said, her options were limited to only one.
I agree.
Yes, that's what he said it at that press conference.
Yes, and Martha Karua has been consistent. In 2017, she was asked who between Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and William Somaya Duto, if given a chance, who would you support? She said, I will work with the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So she's at the right place.
All right, I'm coming to Ambrose, but I'd like to ask you, Joe, this question. There's a tweet that was sent out earlier by Mohamed Walie. I know you know him. He's a respectable member of the community. Now, Walie wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names. He started by Raila Odinga, Kivuta Kibwana, Kiraitu Murungi, Martha Karua, Muhisa Kitui, James Orengo, and ended at the doorstep of Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o. And he said the tough cookies of the second liberation, that is the political liberation we had in 1992, have reunited. These were the architects. Then the other side, just to be fair, of reading the whole tweet, he said not a single person who has fought for anything in Kenya is on the other side, just a bunch of comfort seekers. That's what he said on that tweet. But the first part interests me, that the heroes of the second liberation are teaming up, and they hope that they can carry the third liberation. Is it even possible? Because if I took you back to 1963, no one has ever transversed the two. First 30 years to 92, second 30 years to 2002. Everyone who was in the first, we don't see them much. So is it possible that they are able to transition the new Kenya to the next liberation?
Thank you very much, Ken. Two things I would like to say. One, there is no one with one single story. There's no individual, including those mentioned in that tweet and others, who have one single story that, it's either positive only or negative, hero or villain. The heroes of yesteryears were villains during Kibaki's government. And I can mention Kibwana, for example, on land issues. And I could go on and on. There is not a single individual who has only one story to them in history, and it's never the end of history. There's always something unfolding, something in the making. So I don't think we can reach a conclusion like what Weli was reaching in that tweet. Secondly, in my opinion, based on what I know about the history of the Republic of Kenya, they can never ever be anything that you'll call a liberation for Kenyans, for as long as you have a government fronted by Kenyatta Incorporated and those who have held levers of power, particularly economic power in this country since independence. If you read the history of Kenya, and you can get it from even just books you can read casually, like the histories of the hanged and so on. He read the history of the Mau Mau, read the history of independence and how Kenyatta came into government, what they did to control government and so on, the brief disruption by Moi and the quick reconvening after Kibaki came back to power. I do not believe there can be anything that you can ever call liberation for the people of Kenya, for as long as that group controls government and it's that group that is brokering whoever comes into the office of the president and whatever form of the next government will look like. So yes, we can talk about new government, which could be led by Honorable Raila Odinga, but in that, in my opinion, you cannot, in the same sentence, talk about liberation of the people of Kenya and Kenyatta Incorporated and that group that I'm talking about.
Very interesting, but it's not their fault that they're sitting right at the top, Simeha.
No, it's not their fault, but it's desire. It's by desire and design. It's not by default either. It's not their fault, and neither is it by default. It's by design from the beginning. And it is by design that they wish for there to be a continuation of those who feed off the fat of the land at the expense of the majority. And what best other than to put the best person with the best political credentials, reform credentials, liberation credentials in this country, and that's Raila Amolo Odinga, at least as of now. So I am arguing that I do not think you can talk of a liberation. If Raila Odinga had run a campaign to be president with the partners, the traditional partners and new partners, traditional partners he has always run with, and new partners, but not those that are part of that incorporation, you'd probably talk of some kind of liberation, because then he would be doing that with the full mandate of the citizens of Kenya. Right now, mandate is coming from everywhere. The citizens will come in to sort of provide a thin veneer to crown it if, inshallah, Raila Odinga gets the presidency. But you cannot compare now to, for example, 2017, 2013, and 2007, when the mandate of the citizens was so overwhelming, but then was stopped by that group that I'm talking about. That's why I'm refusing this language of liberation. Raila Odinga, inshallah, could be president. Yes, he could be president. Yes, I'm sure in good faith, he will most likely attempt to do some very good things for the Republic of Kenya, but there'll always be blocks, huge roadblocks in his way because of the interests of the group that I talk about.
All right, I'll come to you, Mike, but you need to now come in. Still on the same thing, the 7 listed, they have recruited. Do they have the capacity? It's also time gone to bring the liberation that Simeha doesn't want to hear about. The economic liberation.
People saying, in the good old days, and yet there was nothing good. These people mentioned they couldn't
At least we stayed alive, whether.
These people mentioned they couldn't get that power. That is why those who have not been in the liberation, like Kibaki came, and who escorted him to State House? The same people. The same people. Like Raila led in escorting Kibaki to State House.
President Uhuru wasn't there.
President Uhuru was also not there.
Yeah.
He is doing his 10 years. And Ruto now has put everybody in a corner. President Uhuru has to come in and say, I need to help this liberation struggle heroes. It is not about heroism. These ones mentioned are spent. Some of them are collecting taxes from women selling mangoes and oranges in local markets. Honorable Nyong'o is there. Kiraitu Murungi is there doing it. Orengo now wants to also go to Shimeru market and collect. And if you don't pay, they carry your things. They have relapsed the villages. The center is now still being ruled by the very people who are not in the liberation. Even now, the big hope for Raila is because Uhuru is backing him. Even the Martha Karua that my brother is celebrating, it was the effort of the president, who knows how to negotiate, who knows to say, my sister, please. Otherwise, the rest would be, it's either us. Honorable Martha Karua, in the other side, there's Anne Waiguru, and they're fighting over the governorship. She knows she will not be given the ticket. The only way you would get a ticket is on this other side. She's a shrewd politician. The advantage she brings to Azimio is the big name.
Martha Karua.
Martha Karua. Remember, most of the big names have gone to the other side. So when she comes, she brings in the big name and the female name.
What the most? What do you mean most of the big names have gone to the other side?
Just look around. Look around.
Just mention 5.
Look around.
Mention 5 of the big names on the other side.
Look around.
No, wait. Mention 5 of the big names who have gone on the other side.
You want me to?
Just 5 names of the big.
From where she comes from, Waiguru is the other side.
Waiguru, yes.
Do you understand? The governor Nyeri is the other side.
No, the governor of Nyeri is not on the other side. He's the only one who is still with the president from that region. Among the governors, he's standing with the president.
Just wait, you will see.
You're talking about...
Just wait. The big name there. Now, let me add. Yeah. Kuria is the other side.
Yes, Moses Kuria.
Moses Kuria.
TPS is there.
Kabogo is the other side.
Yes.
We are talking about people with big names and big pockets.
Oh, okay.
People who can come and shake the earth. Remember somebody like Kabogo, we were with him in 2013 with Uhuru.
Oh, yes.
The people who Jubilee can government. Also lend you aircrafts, chopper, not us who are seeking lifts. So he brings, she brings the big name. The way Nyaga brought the name. The way sometimes Honorable Balala was brought in to bring a name. So that when you say us, we are many. But other than that, these credentials, as my brother Simea said, these credentials of liberation, they were liberators when they were outside, when Moi kept them out. But when they got into power, some of them went wild. Honorable Martha Karua was there at KICC. The day they said, if Raila is winning, let Kenya ban. She was in charge. So it's only that as a country we forgive, we love one another, and we move forward.
Okay.
But I still repeat, the biggest catch again required, go and tell your people, is to go for Musalia. Let's go for him.
Can he change his mind, Ambrose?
Yote yawezekana kwa imani. Please. As on the Jubilee side, we always believe, do your best. Now you can see Martha Karua's come. There was a time you say, can they?
Actually, I'm going to ask that question directly about Martha Karua.
Yes.
But I'll let him comment because he's burning with something.
Yes.
But Martha Karua, when did she make up her mind? During the Jubilee Party meeting with Azimio at KICC,
yes.
There's a tweet that was sent.
Yes.
And someone asked, where is Martha Karua? She tweeted, relaxing at home.
The
other day, she had an interview,
yes.
and Martha Karua, not an interview, but a press conference, I don't remember where, but she said that both of those sides are not clean. She's looking for a place where has a majority of people who are interested. Those two coalitions, she mentioned. Yesterday, she had an interview, and yesterday, she was non-committal. And today, she's made...
Now,
so
look at it in the sense, I want you to look at the footsteps of President Uhuru, especially when it comes to these people. Even when Honorable Musalia Mudavadi slipped, everybody from Raila's side were like, let him go. We have Oparanya, we have who? But it's only the president who said, I'm very disappointed about this. And even when he was leaving, he tried to persuade him. You will trace, and you see that in the movement of Martha Karua, you'll see the hand of the president.
Okay.
In the movement of Kalonzo, you see the hand of the president. In the movement of Dr. Gideon Moi, you see the hand of the president. If it was led for this Azimio brigade, they will be chest thumping and saying, our vote, now we have deep state, and with the deep state, we will win.
Mike.
I think I totally disagree with what Mr. Weda is saying. We cannot say that Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, in a nutshell, does not need all this individual. Yet it started as Azimio la Umoja. That in itself tells you that this is an inclusive organization of individuals and parties that want to run this country. And it wants everybody to be in that bus. And for that reason, you cannot say that all this success has just been made as a result of the President of the Republic of Kenya. Absolutely not. I think the President of the Republic of Kenya and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga have been sitting together, and they've been scheming and working together in the interest of bringing the country together. And I don't think that it is only the President who said, oh, let me bring this guy, and I really don't know whether you like him so much as Weda is trying to say. Absolutely not. I think where they started and they said, we want to bring a coalition of parties that will bring everybody together to be inclusive in this thing. I think that's when they began giving people roles and reaching out to all these individuals. If the president was the only one reaching out, and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga did not want them, perhaps he would not have even gone up to where Martha was, and Martha would not have even come to where he was. And for that reason, I think Honorable Weda give credence where it's due. It is Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and his brother, the President of the Republic of Kenya, coming together and saying, let's bring everybody together. And so don't give credit to the President alone and forget about Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who is actually poised to be the President of the Republic of Kenya. I don't know how he look at you one day and say, what was Weda saying there? And he knew very well that actually things were already aligned up for me to be the president, including
Weda is a Jubilee guy.
Let me
Jubilee. He has to draw to his
That power you get, we will share it.
And Jubilee, by the way, is in Azimio. So you need to relax his attacks on Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. But let me qualify what I was saying. Yes. When Mr. Simea certainly says that liberation is nothing, and that's what he quoted, that there was no much in this liberation, and especially on the 7 names that have been, tweeted here, then I think he's wrong, because I think it's an act, it's a fight. I think it's individuals that bared that cold morning and individuals that the government was looking at as the troublemakers and the first liberation and the second liberation. Individuals that said that Section 2A must go, that jailing individuals and politicians without trial is wrong. And those individuals are the ones coming in. They were threatened. Some of them were thrown to jail. Some of them did not sleep in their homes. Give credence where it is due. They fought for our right. And sometimes we speak about the president here negatively, or to even some leaders negatively in government, and we walk out of this studio and go home. It never happened when this liberation and liberators did not go out there to shout and say that this must go, and eventually it went. And so let's give credence where it's due. Secondly, when we are talking about the big names that have gone the other side, and I'm happy you asked Mr. Weda, who are these big names? I thought he would have included the likes of Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, already the other side, because they're the big names. And you can see that they went the other side, and as soon as they went the other side, now UDA seems to be having issues, because, who's going to be the deputy president? Honorable Gachagua knew very well that he was going to be the deputy president. Now Musalia Mudavadi is the one being taken for the ride in America and other places. And now they're saying, wait, we've been struggling with this thing, and you guys will be far away, and suddenly you are here. They were not far away. They were already there. They were just mark timing on Oka. And when they realized that Oka was not a place for them to patch their feathers, they decided to go back where they belong. And so those are not big names. They were part of that system from the word go. I disagree with Weda again. It is not for us to say that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi go. He has a brain, he's a very smart guy, he's been the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi was a finance minister in this country. He's been a minister of local government, I think, at one time, and therefore he can make his own decision.
Deputy Prime Minister.
If he decides, he was a Deputy Prime Minister, if he decides to join, I don't know whatever, UDA the other side, he knows why he's joining UDA. I don't think it is on any fundamental differences that is totally repairable on Azimio's side, but it's a decision made.
Okay.
And I want to say this. This idea that politicians are being bought left, right, and center need to be written on the wall. This is perhaps why some of these politicians that you never thought, and I'd say that any given, many times in the past, that they will never join Honorable William Somaya Ruto. And now with Ruto, why do you think they're there? Because most of them have been bought. I rest my case.
Some of these Azimio supporters, Raila supporters, they are drunk even before they get power. They're already excluding people even before power comes. I suggest here that for winning, efforts now should be made to bring Musalia. They're like, no! He's already telling me, if Raila was to be president, where will you be? My brother, I'm one of the people who was taken to Nyati House by Moi. You understand that? I was there, we were out. I am one of the best lawyers in Africa. And I'm in this country because of Jehovah, the King of Kings. No president will move me around. Not Honorable Raila, not Honorable Ruto, not it is my God. If Honorable Raila comes and is running the systems well, I will thrive. If Honorable Ruto comes and is running the systems well, I will thrive. I'm one of the few Kenyans who can live on what is called intellectual property. You understand that? So we are saying that if your side, this side, we are very interested because our president, our friend Uhuru has stuck his head into this. So we do not want embarrassment. We do not want him to be embarrassed. If it was not him, then we would have just left you people to chest stamp and then do your telala tipping and you are defeated and you are used to it. And then you claim, oh, we have been rigged. But we are saying systematically, I'm not praising the president. You saw the other day when Honorable Kalonzo was already in Azimio, but he was still talking in a way that disillusions the core base. Now, Honorable Raila was also there. He was not that he had gone to Jupiter or Mercury. He was here. And they were closer than even President Uhuru. But President Uhuru took his time to go to his house because he knows that when you sit one-on-one, there is some charmness.
Okay.
You understand? So these things is about negotiations, sharing, talking. He learned them. Moi himself, when he was running for power and Nyachai had left and things were not working well, he worked in. When his just listen, when Moi realized his government was a bit shaky, he talked to Honorable Raila and told him, my brother, fold that small thing called NDP, come in. It's the same President Uhuru, when things were, Baba was sitting on the streets and causing commotion, he did handshake. That is how you craft government. We rebuke it in Jesus' name.
I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
That's your words. Those are your words.
Simeha has been waiting for a while. And Simeha, as you comment, because I know you want to add your voice to this debate, talk to us about the likelihood that with Martha Karua on the other side, with 120,000 votes that she got in Kirinyaga, with the fact that the Agikuyu value women leadership, looking at the foundation of leadership in the Gikuyu land, and her coming to support Raila Odinga, and President Uhuru Kenyatta also from that direction also supporting Raila Odinga, they say that the deputy president had scaled the wall, had scaled the mountain, and the mountain was his to lose. What dynamics changes right now, putting everything to context?
Thank you very much. First of all, Ken, I think I've told you before on your shows that I think the significance of that region, that Mount Kenya region, with regards to electoral politics in Kenya, is exaggerated when we are talking about numbers. The significance is something else, not in my understanding, not numbers. The significance is those who hold the levers of power, those who have held onto the system since independence, particularly the economic system and the security system, briefly disrupted by Daniel Arap Moi for a while, and several of them hibernated and sprang back in full force during the Kibaki era, and that is what makes a difference. And the idea of tyranny of numbers, I think, was just a creation of imagination to cover whatever else was being done by what really matters, and that is those who hold the power of the purse and the power of official violence, if I may use that word, by the diplomatically I said security. So with that in mind, the coming in of Martha Karua, I do not think changes anything in terms of bringing numbers to Azimio. I think it's more about interest, and her interest vis-a-vis the interests of those who have drawn up this script together with Uhuru Kenyatta is minuscule. I think for her, I think as Weda was saying earlier, I think for her is more of, it's just more of image. It's just more of a show that, look, okay, we also have Martha Karua. It's much more of perception. I do not think it matters in terms of the numbers she brings on board. I think she crosses because the other side is too slippery for her. She wants Kirinyaga governor's position unless things have changed today. And the other side is too slippery for her because of the entrenchment of the current governor of Kirinyaga, that is Waiguru. So therefore, Martha Karua has no choice. When she looks at the two leading formations, political formations in the country, her competitor is already entrenched on the other side. She runs to the Azimio side. So I don't think that anything with regards to numbers will change because Martha Karua has gone to Azimio side. And let me just add on to this, and I think I associate with quite a bit of what Weda is saying. That is based on my experience. The script for what we are seeing now, the script for this succession, whereas some people may want to believe it's a script drawn up by brotherhood of Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, is a script drawn up by Kenyatta Incorporated and company. And Raila brought in to give it political legitimacy, the legitimacy of reform credentials and so on. I say this now.
Is the sound? All right, I think we have a challenge with your microphone, Simeha, but we're coming back to you because I wanted to ask him. He says that the field could be a little bit slippery for Martha Karua. Xavier, once to get him back, you can let us know. So how is it that he thinks Martha Karua would have not aided out Waiguru, yet Waiguru aided out Ngirishi? I mean, it could have been possible. Because he says the only reason she's here, one of the major reasons she's here, because the other side is already crowded. Yes. And talk about the numbers even as you speak about that.
In terms of moving, to go and... Waiguru herself is equally popular. So trying to entrench her, to edge her out, there is popularity, there is Kwacha aspect.
There's incumbency.
Incumbency. Also, Honorable Martha Karua is a senior counsel. She's a tough lady. She pushes her way.
Okay.
And there are also people, when she comes in, they are very jittery.
Where she is.
So
I'll come back to you because we are told. I just need him to finish his point. Joe, if you could finish your point and also answer to the fact that you say Martha Karua, one of the major reasons she's on this other side because the other side is already crowded. But don't forget also that she aged out Ngirishi. That's Waiguru. She came in later and aged out Ngirishi. Martha Karua would come in later and probably age her out anyway.
Let me start there. The more reason why Martha Karua would be afraid of even attempting, because of the political stature, the aggressiveness, and the clout and the resources that the current governor commands. She has demonstrated that, she leaves no stone unturned in terms of staking her claim on what she believes is hers on that side, and therefore is no easy task for any other person to unseat her from that patch in Kirinyaga. That's the more reason why Martha Karua would be very cautious. And remember just now that she's the current governor, so there's incumbency, there's resources, and so on and so forth. The point I was making before we got into that technical problem was, who is the author of this succession script? I think there's an illusion by some people that it's a brotherhood of Raila Odinga, Honorable Raila Odinga and Honorable President Uhuru Kenyatta. No, in my experience, in my knowledge, now with hindsight knowledge,
This is a script drawn up by Kenyatta Incorporated and Company. This is a script that at some point, even those of us who worked with Raila believed was a jointly crafted script. But as things unfolded, as from the BBI time, as things have unfolded, it has been demonstrated so clearly. This is a script that is drawn up by Kenyatta Incorporated and associates, and Raila comes in to give it political legitimacy because of his credentials. And whenever there are hurdles, it is the authors of this script who have to go and remove those hurdles. Where there is a problem, it's the authors of the script who have to come in and deal with that problem. Every time, as Weda had mentioned there earlier, Raila Odinga, Honorable, has seemed to struggle. It has been Uhuru Kenyatta to rush, because he's the one who knows the script. It has been Uhuru Kenyatta and associates to rush to the aid of Honorable Raila Odinga. So to me, it's just a fallacy to say that it's a brotherhood that is delivering this succession, inshallah, if it happens. No, I think Raila, his position has been defined. He comes in to give this script legitimacy. But the owners of the script, the controller of the script, are different. It's a different group.
Gentlemen, as you comment, Martha Karua crossing over to support, not crossing over, she had not taken any stand, but supporting Raila Odinga comes just at the back of that endorsement of Maendeleo ya Wanawake 70th anniversary celebrations. Does it have any hand in this also? Do you think once they endorsed her, now she has the weight of the women behind her that she has to carry? So comment about that also as we conclude the discussion.
Now remember that when you bring a name, a brand name, the Wanjiku, the Achiengs in the village, they want to look who is there, and they say Mother Karua is there, so and so is there. That is why when Honorable Raila crafted the Pentagon, the other side looked like it was just a small tribal outfit, and you saw the damage it caused. So these names matter. Let me just tell my brother Shimehaj that the history of Kenya shows us that when you want power, there's a step. When you are at the doorstep of power, you are escorted. You can't go there by your force. Honorable Kenyatta, Uhuru's father, was escorted into State House by Jaramogi himself. He didn't do much. He was just escorted. Honorable Moi was escorted into State House by Kenyatta and later on by people like Njonjo. Honorable Kibaki was escorted into power by Honorable Raila. So if now Honorable Uhuru is escorting Raila to power, it is not that
who escorted Uhuru and Ruto to power?
Mheshimiwa Kibaki.
Okay.
You understand? You can't do Tialala Tibim now at the doorstep of power. You will not be allowed. Because he knows.
You must work with the exiting.
Yes, they are not just the exiting. The history of Kenya shows that you are escorted. I've narrated how it started.
Yes, yes.
So it is not that it is Uhuru Incorporated. But secondly, Honorable Uhuru knows how to get this power. That is why I keep on complaining to my side, that my brothers, that when they should stop telling people I ended Tialala Tibi. If somebody has gone, if my brother Mijungu is leaving, how come and say, my brother?
Don't leave.
We are almost to leave. I can't tell you, go, I will get you. We don't do that if you want power. You only do that if you want to be egoistic.
Okay.
So these endorsements, they show off confidence. They're like so and so. So you remember even in America. Remember in America, you'll hear this media house has endorsed so and so, this has done so and so, this church has endorsed so and so, these people. It gives people confidence. There are some people that are 50-50. So when I hear, hey, my brother Mijungu is supporting this, and because I respect you, I'll be like, let me do that.
Okay, Mike.
I just don't think I like the idea of belittling Honorable Raila Odinga as if he cannot make decisions and bring people to support his cause. I want to remind Honorable Sumaya that Honorable Raila Odinga has run for presidency 3 times. And he was not running presidency 3 times with the Honorable, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, supporting him. At that particular time, he was running it with other leaders in this country. And so to say that Honorable Raila Odinga is just bringing legitimacy, that the authors are different from him, to me, that is an insult in the person of Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and his integrity for that reason. And I think we cannot belittle a national hero to that extent. We have to accept that indeed, even if they were authors of this script of Azimio, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga was part of it from the beginning, and it cannot be alienated from it. That, to us, we must be very clear on that.
Okay.
And if President Uhuru Kenyatta is coming in to support Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga in his quest for presidency, he should not be called to be the author. When Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga started running for presidency, in fact, President Uhuru was not even on his side at that particular time. And therefore, I want to agree that everybody is important, and all these names that Mr. Weda is quoting are very, very important to see that Kenya are now coming together. The Kenya that was split in 2007, 2008 seemingly are coming together. The Kenya that was split in 2013 and in 2017 seemingly are coming together, except one individual who is William Ruto, that has decided that I have to compete this individual because it seems that the presidency of 2022 was legitimately mine even before the Kenyan people voted. And for that reason, I think Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is in the right place. And in addition to that, being supported by the president, something that is historical, an opposition leader being supported. We've said that before. But what we have to say is let's give the work. That is not right.
Gentlemen, I have a few minutes on the clock. But when we come back, I want you each to weigh on what happened today between Cleophas Malala and Boni Halwale. The argument is that effectively Boni Halwale is the first elected senator while Cleophas Malala is going home. I like your sentiments on that, but let's play the video of the week. And this video is borrowed from someone who passed on years ago, but it's still, some of the things he said still sticks in our minds. Let's play the video of the week.
Loyalty, faithfulness, fidelity to the party will be number one consideration. If we doubt you, if we think that you are going to bed with our opposition, we will not allow you to hold any office.
Otieno Kajwang, right? That guy was an orator. We miss him. But anyway, that one is related to the nominations that are going on, because there are several ways that they're going to use to hand over the nomination certificates to aspirants, making them candidates. That's top consideration for a lot of parties, because looking at the history of Jubilee Party and the split that happened, right? The 130 members of parliament, 25 women reps, and 23 senators who have left to be the deputy president on the other side, leaving Jubilee. If you look at that, that's a top considerations. But even as you comment, because I'll give you one round of comments each as we close, comment about what happened between Boni Halwale and Malala today. How did they first reach that deal? What was the consideration for them? Let me start with you, Mike.
Boni Halwale doesn't have money to run for governor because the stakes are very high in Kakamega. And for that reason, he actually evaluated himself and realized he thought that William Ruto will give him a lot of money to run for governor. That is not coming forth. And for that reason, he's decided perhaps he's going to go for something else that will need less amount of money. A number of people have also told him that running for governor is a big shot for him now that he had run to UDA that seemed not to have traction in Western as they thought. And for that reason, him spending a lot of time with Honorable Ruto has actually taken away a lot of votes from him, and now he has decided on the other one. When you come to Honorable Malala, even though he's thinking that he's going to be the governor, it might be very difficult for him because ODM is still having a very strong hold there, with Governor Paranya still flying the flag of ODM in Western Kenya. And we know for a fact that he is using every resources possible to make sure that the ODM fraternity gets the governorship of Kakamega. And as a result of being an incumbent governor, that means he's still sitting and is going out soon, supporting another candidate who is an ODM candidate. They knew that it was going to be a very fierce battle, and for that reason, I think it was wise for them to think that if we have to give this guy a new lease of political life, then perhaps where he can fit is the senator and not the governor.
What a waste of time, Mike, as I go to Weda. What a waste of time. He could be doing second-time governor.
Sure. He will be doing second-time government.
And he's going back to where he left.
Because I think this is the best decision he can ever make. I've talked to a number of people in Western Kenya who says he can't make the governor, but if he tries the senatorial, there's no strong candidate in the senatorial position, and therefore he has a chance to win. And so I think he's making a big political decision.
Wait a mistake to Cleophas Malala running for governor, because the states, you know, he's been lucky. Ran for MCA won, and then Boni Halwale makes a mistake and runs for governor against an incumbent, and he loses. Now Malala is upward trajectory. MCA, now senator, he's going for governor. Upwards, he could win it. But the mistake is you're leaving a comfortable seat that you can hold for another term to go for something that is very, very expensive even to run for fast.
You know, let me just correct you. This thing of so-and-so leaving a mistake. In 2013, I was told, you're making a mistake leaving and joining Uhuru. Now Martha Karua will celebrate as she joins Azimio because of the brand name. In politics, there are things you do also to build your name. That's why we are talking about Halwale, we are talking about Malala or wherever. So I do not see the mistake. What I can tell you is this. Look at the history of Honorable Ruto and Uhuru in 2013 and 2017, and you see areas where things were tough. You should see that they negotiated these things. So this is where, because Western is still dicey, I do not think UD would want fallouts. So fallouts here, it will basically mean that the chief chicken seller and Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, they come and say, my brother, let us work this so that we do not have fallouts. This thing of somebody doesn't have money, I really don't know where you get these things from.
Well,
please don't see people as they walk along the road and then you underrate them. If he has run as senator, he has won, he was MP, it is about negotiations. Even here in Nairobi, you will see the Azimio side negotiating. You will see the UDA side negotiating. That is because there are times you do not want fallout. It's not about money, it's about trying to bring the Luhya nation closer, and therefore you don't want some of their sons. So that is a political strategy. It's not about lack of, and I think it is wisdom. What my friend and senior colleague Otieno Kajwang was saying about loyalty. I would ask, loyalty for what? Loyalty to where? This morning I was listening to one of the lectures by Bill Clinton. He said one of the things you have to learn is to learn to work with the people you do not like. Now you can see President Uhuru, and he worked with Ruto. Even their communities, they didn't like one another. Now he's working with Honorable Raila. It is about the goal. Where do you want to go? And if where you want to go, it is only Bwana Mujungu will take you. It does not matter whether I like you or I don't. This thing of loyalty, damu, has kept us outside for years, and I rebuke that spirit in Jesus' name.
All right, and Joe, as you close the show for us, I read somewhere, confirm or deny this, that you just moved to the ANC party. Your handle still has the flowers of ANC, but I read somewhere that you have decamped, and now your new party is also affiliated to Azimio, even as you comment about what has happened in Western Kenya between Cleophas Malala and Dr. Boni Halwale.
Let me start with what you are alleging. I haven't even made anything public in terms of what platform I'm running on. As you know, the official campaigns haven't started yet. The party primaries haven't happened. The window for making decisions on one's party of preference, one's choice, is not yet closed. It's closing latest Saturday, I think therefore reasonably Friday. So therefore, yes, I will be running on a different party, but that is not something that I can make public now because it's not a one person's decision and it doesn't affect an individual. A decision has already been made. It doesn't pride itself with being affiliated to this or the other. That's not the most prominent thing about it, but just that it is a party that respects our choice to be able to run and go to the elections. When I say that, let me just be clearer. It's a party that saves us from the burden of imposition of candidates by people who call shots within the ANC party when Honorable Musalia Mudavadi is too busy doing campaigns for Kenya Kwanza. There are other one or two or three individuals already making decisions and causing huge fallouts within the ANC party. So that is why. But it is true that I'm still running, and that platform will be made public in due course, not later than I think next week. On what you say about what we observed about Bonnie Khalwale and Cleophas Malala, about my friends, I think what's important is the optics. First, let me say, I agree that it's condescending to talk about Bonnie Khalwale not having money. I think it's actually very condescending. This is about just interests, people negotiating interests. But what should be of major interest for us in terms of analysis is the optics. Look at where that decision was and made public. Look at the region, look at the parties involved, and then look at where the decision was finally made public. It just shows, to me, it confirms one thing, that one party in that Kenya Kwanza coalition has its script well knitted together in terms of an agenda, in terms of a common strategy, perhaps much better than other partners in the coalition. And therefore, you can see a common thread in where it's negotiating things, dropping this, picking up that, dropping this, picking up that, all towards the common strategy, all towards the goal. And I think unless the other partners learn that you have to have a common strategy for you to negotiate. Even when you had Honorable Rigathi Gachagua talk about the deputy presidency or the running mate, it's not just posturing, it's part of negotiation as part of a common strategy towards a goal. That's what perhaps my parting shot is, that the other parties in that coalition, they better learn something about having a broad common strategy towards a goal. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Unless there is anything supplementary we want to add, I think the topic is exhausted. And as I always say, I love having you on the show. We'll get another opportunity to do this, including the viewers who are participating in our program. I've seen quite a number of their contributions, but I'd like just to pick from one ardent member of News Hour, and he watches religiously. He's also seeking to be a governor of a county, Honorable Nicholas Gumbo. Now, he says this, that Wakili Weda, you're right when you say that Governor Mutahi Kahiga in Nyeri is Kenya Kwanza through UDA. So you are right. I'm the one at least who brought that out. And in Nyandarua, Governor Kimemia, Kiambu, Nyoro. So it's Nyoro, not Kim. I made that mistake. Who are active members of Azimio. And lastly, he's reminding you, Mike, that Raila Odinga has run 4 times, not 3 times, 97, 2007, 2013, and 2017. This is a 4th term. Thank you for watching News Hour this night. My name is Ken Mijungu, and earlier on we had Meresha Owiti with us on the broadcast, and of course the whole crew here. Let's do this again next week, same place, same time. But remember, Kivumbi every Monday. We start Kivumbi this Saturday. I know you've seen the promo around. We're going to the county of Kisumu. Hope you can be in Kisumu over the weekend. We will arrange. Yes. So Kivumbi is on the road. We're headed to Kisumu starting Saturday, Sunday, and of course Monday when we close with a town hall. Thank you for watching. My name is Ken Mijung once again. Have a good night. God bless.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
One day you will find that pairing soul. You will feel your whole heart melt for this person.
Love is a beautiful thing to experience. Share the love with your callers by dialing *811 *915# to subscribe to the Soulmate Tune. Set the mood for love with Skiza. On 30th of March 2022, the Ministry of Health in collaboration with CBM Christian Blind Mission will launch the Vision Impact Project for comprehensive, inclusive, integrated and people-centered universal eye health coverage in Kenya. Erstwhile, KTN News will host a panel discussion with the lead team to elaborate on the aim of the project targeting 10 counties in Kenya. Tune in to the panel discussion on the 24th of March 2022 at 10 a.m.
I joined, I have seen progressive change in terms and conditions of service for women. Today, we see ourselves in the Air Force, in the Army, and in the Navy.
Kweli unaona hata serikali inaonyesha kwa kutambua mara ya kwanza ya kwamba katika ngazi za juu ya jeshi hii hata kina mama wanaweza kuchangia na wapewe nguvu.
It is very fulfilling to serve my country in the defense forces.
This, I am proud to state, demonstrates clearly our commitment to engendering the security sector, and more importantly, our resolve to empower and to position our women in positions of leadership.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Hello, I'm Sophie Ikenya. Welcome to Focus on Africa. Our top stories. 8 people are killed in a gunfight at the entrance to the international airport complex in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Satellite images show smoking ruins in the besieged Ukrainian city of Mariupol. Authorities say 100,000 civilians remain with no food, water, or medicine. Now, a court in the Netherlands rules against 4 Nigerian widows in their lawsuit against oil giant Shell over the execution of their husbands by the military government in 1995. And in sports, Ivory Coast international midfielder Frank Kessie agrees terms to join Spanish giants Barcelona from AC Milan. Thanks for joining us on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. A gunfight at the entrance to the international airport complex in the Somali capital, Mogadishu, has left at least 8 people dead. Aden International Airport hosts peacekeepers, the offices of the UN organizations, and diplomatic missions. 2 of the attackers, who are suspected jihadists, were also killed as they tried to force their way into the secure zone. Masi Juma reports from Mogadishu.
I have been at the Aden Abdullah International Airport in Mogadishu just a few minutes ago, and there is
heightened security in the area. Flights have been halted in the meantime, and only emergency ones are landing at the airport. And everybody who's coming out of those flights has to be escorted by security outside the airport and to the places where they are going to. Outside the airport in the green zone, that is the place that is the protected area that is housing the UN, the AMISOM base, a number of embassies, and a number of international organizations, also known as the Halani compound. There's also a lot of security. There are no people on the streets, but there are security cars and army vehicles patrolling the streets. And at the Marina Gate, where the attack happened, we just met somebody who says he was at the gate and he didn't want to appear on camera, but he describes the two persons who carried out the attack as very young men who came in wearing Somali army uniform. They also had IDs for the Somali army. He says they are maybe between 18 and 25 years, and it was very difficult to say who they were or to pinpoint that they are not from the army because of how they were dressed and yes, the IDs that they were carrying. Now, on the other side of the green region, the protected region, there are also reports that the Al-Shabaab threw mortars into the UN base. There were two mortars, but luckily none of them exploded.
Masi Juma reporting there for us. And I'm now joined by Abdisalam Guled, who is a security analyst and a former deputy of Somali National Intelligence Agency. Thanks for taking time to talk to us on the program. This is a huge security breach. How is this even possible given, the area is quite fortified, so to speak?
As you said, yes, it is a security breach, and it looks like the Al-Shabaab managed after 8 years. I think the first time that Al-Shabaab penetrated the strongest security center, which is the green zone in Mogadishu, Halani, that was in 2010. Now, after 8 years, they still managed to come into the airport. I mean, the place where they attacked, it was like 100 yards from the entrance, actual entrance, was a Marina Gate entrance controlled by the AMISOM Ugandan troops, which are part of AU peacekeepers. And this particular place they targeted was a K9 training place, compound, private security, where they train the Somali police and the AMISOM police work with the K9, the security dogs. And I don't know why they particularly this place was so important for them, because what I do understand is they were not stopped. These guys, they could have. They came with a vehicle. They were not coming to the gate by walking. They came with a vehicle. That vehicle either working with them or just to give in a lift, since they are wear the uniform and probably had a badge. So it still is not clear who assisted them to get this place.
Let me step in here, because President Farmajo promised to deal with Al-Shabaab when he came to power. Is there ever going to be a solution, in your opinion, to this?
I mean, as you probably know, not yet, and we don't see anything, because the last 5 years since the President Farmajo was in a position, Al-Shabaab increased their position. They expanded their territory under control, Al-Shabaab. AMISOM and the Somali security degraded back to the Mogadishu. They abandoned FORPs and the security barracks. As you probably know, in 31st of this month, AMISOM mandate will expire, and Somali government refused to extend, and they said the Somali will be able to take care of its own security. I mean, the election, this federal election, is in the next few weeks, and the venue of the election will be about 100, 200 yards exactly where the incident happened today. So this is a lot of things happening and I don't know why it happened at this time.
It's interesting you've mentioned AMISOM there and the time left for them. Should they change strategy now, and if so, how?
AMISOM has been there for quite some time, and of course, without AMISOM, the airport won't be as its function, or the seaport. AMISOM played a huge role in Somali security, airport, seaport, and the state house. It comes under control of AMISOM, and we don't have anything yet to replace the AMISOM. Somali government, they claim they can take over, but it doesn't look like it. The Somali government and the election is coming, and now Al-Shabaab managed to penetrate in this green zone, well secured, which is like, even it was the place where they attacked it today, is a less than 100 or 200 yards where the terminal, the airport landed. So, plane landed. So it's vulnerability in there, there's a loophole is in there. And I think there's a huge thing to be done.
I'm curious what you think. There are some who say that this could just be a distraction to get, the minds of people off the delayed elections. What are your thoughts on that?
Of course, I hear could be the political statement, but Al-Shabaab claimed straight away. They claim these are their soldiers. So Al-Shabaab, they always, do harm and distract it and cause the harm and the mayhems. So I don't know what Al-Shabaab, they don't care about the election isn't delayed or so on, but I don't think there's anyone else involved in it. If anyone else involved, that's the Somali government. I mean, the cars, the vehicle, they come into the perimeter an airport. I was told that they marked the government in uniform, either NISA, which is intelligence, or the police or the military. Still, it's not clear yet. But we do see now things need to be a precaution. AMISOM and international community need to actually take the beef of the security situation in the airport.
All right. Abdisalad Guled, security analyst and former deputy of Somali National Intelligence Agency. Thanks for speaking to us on Focus on Africa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russian forces of using the exclusion zone around Chernobyl nuclear plant to prepare fresh attacks. Addressing the Japanese parliament, Mr. Zelensky said the fighting in some areas of his country was so bad that people were unable to bury relatives who'd been killed. Ukrainian forces are fighting back successfully. That's against the Russian troops. That's according to the U.S. Pentagon. In the port of Mariupol, Ukraine's president says around 100,000 civilians are now trapped without food, water or heat. Our correspondent James Waterhouse has this report from Kiev.
This war was always Russia's invasion, but it's also become a story of Ukraine's resistance, and today, fight back. Mykolaiv, to the west of Kiev's reportedly been retaken. The regional chief of police there posted this patriotic video, complete with dramatic music. The Ukrainian flag flies once more, he says. Similar has been happening in southern cities too. Russia isn't stopping though. It continues to bombard Mykolaiv, where Tamara is in labour.
It's scary, but not as much as on February 24th, when the Russians began to shell Mykolaiv from all sides. Over time, every day, you get used to it more and more, especially when the explosions are somewhere far away. It seems that they're in another state. And then yesterday, here, near the hospital, just 500 metres opposite the maternity hospital, it became scary again.
Doctors say there's been a new wave of births here, caused by women going into labour through stress. In the southeast, President Zelensky reckons there'll soon be nothing left of Mariupol, where 100,000 people are still trapped. However, one of the bosses at the city's port has told the BBC it's still intact, reflecting how strategically significant the Russians see it. In a Kiev hospital, Ola recovers after a shell landed close to her home. She shielded her 1-month-old daughter with her body, meaning Victoria wasn't hurt.
I woke up with her screaming, and it was accompanied by the sound of glass crashing, alarm, fire, cracking. It's like a catastrophe. I just heard her shouting.
Here in the capital, people are making the most of a curfew ending, as well as this warm spring sunshine, to claw back some lost normality in their lives. The sound of artillery and light gunfire can occasionally be heard echoing through neighbouring streets, as both sides start to dig in. Ukraine's government has announced 9 new temporary ceasefires to try and help people escape the fighting. More sanctions, economic punishments, are expected to be announced by US President Biden today. So far, they haven't slowed the fighting at all. James Waterhouse, BBC News in Kiev.
Let's now take a quick look at other stories making headlines across Africa and the rest of the world. In Mali, there are reports that the family of former Prime Minister Soumeilou Maïga have accused the government of post-mortem persecution after the family's request for an independent autopsy was declined. Mr. Maïga died in police custody on the 21st of March. Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum is accusing the junta of assassination. Sudan has denied claims that the Russian mercenary company, the Wagner Group, is operating within its country. Diplomats from the US, UK, and Norway allege the outfit is connected to illegal activities around gold mining there and spreading misinformation online. Sudan's foreign ministry dismissed the claims, accusing the diplomats of dragging the country arbitrarily into the Ukraine conflict. The Taliban has ordered secondary schools for girls to close across Afghanistan today, just hours after they were supposed to reopen for the first time since August. The Taliban say a decision is still to be made on the uniforms they must wear. Taliban members privately admit to the BBC that female education remains controversial among some hardline elements. Well, still to come, Peter, with all the sports and reactions as women's tennis world #1 Ash Barty announces her retirement from the sport.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Rada jaja. Uskini mimi tena. Nimeamua tu kusema asanti kwa kunidunga zawadi ya life na pia afya njema. Enyewe si ati nini. Wendo bazenga.
Shukuru Bwana na your callers with the Sheng prayer quote of the day by dialing *811 *914#. Set the tone with Skiza. KTN News. Get the whole story.
Welcome back. You're watching Focus on Africa from BBC World News. A court in the Netherlands has ruled against 4 Nigerian widows in their lawsuit against oil giant Shell over the execution of their husbands by Nigeria's military government in 1995. Now, the men had been part of a group of 9 activists involved in peaceful protests against pollution caused by oil leaks in Ogoniland in the Niger Delta. Now, the Ogoni 9, as they were dubbed, were hanged after a secret trial. The judges in The Hague said there was not enough evidence to support the widows' claim that Shell had been involved in bribing witnesses whose testimonies contributed to their conviction. Anna Holigan reports from The Hague.
Well, this district court here in The Hague has become something of a legal battleground for Nigerians seeking justice from Shell. 2 of the widows, Victoria Berra and Esther Kiobel, came here to hear the judgment. They believe a Nigerian operating company, part of the Shell Group, had been involved in bribing witnesses whose statements were instrumental in the arrest, conviction and execution of their husbands. But the judges here found there wasn't enough evidence to prove a link, and therefore Shell could not be held liable. Despite losing her case, Victoria Berra told me this felt like a victory.
Yes, I feel that my voice has been heard. I was able to have the opportunity to travel to Netherlands to express myself, to talk about what have happened to me, my story, tell my story to the world, to people who are willing to listen to me.
Well, Shell has always denied any wrongdoing. This is one of a series of environmental lawsuits brought against the global energy firm. Back in 2021, after a 13-year legal battle, this court ordered Shell to compensate a group of Nigerian farmers after their land was decimated by oil spills, their farmland, their fishing waters. Eventually, Shell agreed to pay more than $100 million in compensation. In a separate case, also in 2021, also at this court, Shell was told to reduce its global carbon emissions by 45% by 2030 compared to 2019 levels. As the Nigerian widows were leaving this court, they vowed to continue to battle for justice for the Ogoni people, and they are now considering whether to appeal against the verdict.
Anna Holigan reporting there. Now, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced an end to more COVID lockdown restrictions effective today. Although most of the country has been back in business for months, these latest changes will allow for more social gatherings and economic activity. Let's now go straight to Johannesburg because BBC's Phumza Fiklani is keeping an eye on developments. Phumza, this must have come as a huge relief for many. What did the president say?
It certainly has been celebrated by some people here in the country. One of the main things that the president mentioned is that the research done here by local scientists has found that between 60 to 80% of the population now has some immunity to COVID-19, and that's one of the main reasons they've decided as the government to relax restrictions even more. This, as you mentioned, will lead to larger social gatherings. Things like music concerts will be allowed again, live sporting events, and industries that have suffered really throughout the COVID-19 pandemic are expecting to be able to start making back some money because of these new relaxed restrictions.
And what about international travelers, Phumza? What are the rules around that?
That's right. That's another industry that the South African government is keeping a close eye on. As it stands, international travelers will still need to produce a negative PCR test that's not older than 3 days or a valid vaccination certificate. He said that the government would be providing facilities for international travelers to get vaccinated on arrival, and this is for people that do want to get vaccinated during their visit to the country.
Was there any mention on when the restrictions will be fully lifted?
Not in so many words, Sophie. What they have mentioned is that from the 15th of April, they'll be changing their strategy to one that is focusing on health protocols. They are looking at introducing new legislation which will make it possible to impose strict restrictions should they be needed, but they're hoping that that is going to remain a precautionary measure. For now, their indication is that things are much better than they've been for at least 2 years, and they are optimistic.
All right, Phumza Fiklani, thank you for that update. Thank you. You are watching Focus on Africa. Time now for some sport. Peter, shock retirement in tennis.
Absolutely. It's got everyone talking today, and we'll come to that story in a short while. But first of all, you know, the final playoff games for the 2022 World Cup for the African zone, they take place this week. The first leg will be played on Friday. It should be a thrilling event as 10 of Africa's most exciting heavyweights come against each other in two-legged matches to decide which sides qualify for the global competition. The highlight of the matches will be between AFCON finalists Senegal and Egypt, as well as the clash between long-standing arch-rivals Ghana and Nigeria. Cameroon will take on Algeria in another fiery encounter, while Mali play Tunisia in a tricky tie, while the DR Congo clash with Morocco. The 5 winners will represent Africa at the World Cup to be played in Qatar later this year. Now, Ivory Coast international midfielder Franck Kessie will be joining Barcelona in the summer. He's agreed to join the team after agreeing a 4-year contract. The Ivorian, whose contract at Milan is set to expire at the end of the season, had already reached a verbal agreement with Barca in the last week. Kessie has now signed a deal with Xavi's side until 2026. The 25-year-old who joined Milan from Atalanta on an initial loan deal in 2017 has made more than 200 appearances for the current Serie A leaders. Now, it's been revealed that Manchester United have been in touch with Ajax highly rated coach Erik ten Hag about their vacant manager's job. A former coach with Bayern Munich's second team, Ten Hag has been at Ajax since December 2017 and guided them to within a minute of reaching the Champions League final in 2019. Before Lucas Moura's famous goal for Tottenham, Ajax won the Dutch league title in 2019 and 2021 and are currently top of the table by 2 points from PSV Eindhoven. Paris Saint-Germain boss Mauricio Pochettino is also on a short list. Meanwhile, United star Paul Pogba has revealed his World Cup winners' medal was amongst the items stolen in a robbery of his home last week. The theft happened while he was away playing in a Champions League game. And now to that story that Sophie mentioned that shocked everyone in the sporting world today, the announcement by the world's #1 women's tennis player, Ashley Barty, that she will be quitting the sport at the age of 25. My colleague Simon Atkinson has more.
She's one of the most marketable stars of the game and insists she's leaving the sport proud and fulfilled. Ash Barty is the reigning Wimbledon champion and earlier this year won her home Grand Slam event in Australia to the delight of her legions of fans here. But then, on her Instagram account came this shock announcement.
I'll be retiring from tennis, and it's the first time I've actually said it out loud, and yeah, it's hard to say, but I'm so happy and I'm so ready, and I just know at the moment in my heart for me as a person this is right, and I know I've done this before but in a very different feeling, and I'm so grateful to everything that tennis has given me. It's given me all of my dreams plus more, but I know that the time is right now for me to step away and chase other dreams and to put the rackets down.
Ash Barty says she wants to chase new dreams that don't necessarily involve travelling the world and being apart from her family. Here at her home club in Brisbane, the news has been met with a mix of shock and surprise, but also pride in what their local hero has achieved.
I love Ash Barty. The reason why I play tennis is Ash Barty.
She's like so good, she's a freak, she just gets everything, she's so aggressive, great tennis player. She's amazing, there's no words for her, she's perfect.
I really liked watching her. I've seen that her grind and her fight to win every match she plays is really amazing.
Good job, 2 hands, you got it! Yeah!
Australia's Prime Minister also paid this tribute.
I particularly want to say thank you to you, Ash, for inspiring a generation of young people, and particularly a generation of young Indigenous people in this country. You are all class. Your commitment to excellence in your chosen field in tennis, you're a great cricketer, you're a great tennis player. I'm sure anything you turned your hand to, you are going to be a great success, and I have no doubt that will be the case as you go forward with the next chapters in your life.
Today marks Barty's second retirement from the sport, having walked away from the game as a teenager and briefly taking up cricket. The 25-year-old will give a press conference on Thursday. All eyes now are on what comes next for a superstar who made her mark on the game she loves and has inspired young women in Australia and around the world to follow their sporting dreams. Simon Atkinson, BBC News, in Brisbane, Australia.
Retired at 25. I wish I could do that, but I'm not 25 yet, so there's still time.
Peter, why don't you just let the viewer be the judge of that? Thanks for your company. Bye-bye.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
I Want You Forever